Pelosi did tell CNN that the attack on her husband would have an impact on her decision. In Washington, Jill Nato, Fox News.
Republican South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham testifies today before a grand jury in Georgia.
The district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, is investigating who may have interfered in the vote count in the state after the 2020 election. Then President Trump had called the Secretary of State, saying he just needed to find 11,000 plus votes. DA Fannie Willis says Senator Lindsey Graham raised questions with the Secretary of State at that time about absentee ballots and possible fraud. Graham had argued he's protected from having to testify because he was performing work that fell under his legislative duties. The U.S. Supreme Court said Graham should testify but can raise questions about the questions he's asked. Trump's former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn has been ordered to testify, and this week State Governor Brian Kemp testified as well. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is NewstalkSTL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com. The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
Here we go again.
Candidacy for president.
News, analysis, opinion.
We just got crushed in this election.
We have got to stay focused.
1019 and 94.1 NewstalkSTL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here from my good friends at Great Harvest Bread Company in Maplewood, one of my all-time favorite local businesses. Great Harvest Maplewood is the best, especially this time of year. It is impossible to make a bad decision at Great Harvest, whether it's muffins, cookies, snickerdoodles, or, of course, the bread, especially the pumpkin bread. Great Harvest in Maplewood is in a league of their own. They're located at 7360 Manchester Road and online at greatharvestmaplewood.com.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A-plus rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. On this Thursday, with Donald Trump forging on to recapture the White House, the American people once again see vivid displays of media corruption. Rather than cover a Trump versus DeSantis rivalry fairly, the national press will immediately take sides. That means objective data will be scuttled as compromised journalists do what they are told to do by their corporate masters. So this is what we can expect for the next 2 years. The leftists will viciously attack Trump, as they always do. They will also attempt to marginalize Governor DeSantis in the process, but will go easier on him. Destroy Trump will continue to be the goal of the left. As for Republicans, sides will quickly be taken. Trump loyalists against DeSantis boosters. Already, the owners of Fox News are signaling a DeSantis preference. The Wall Street Journal as well. Newsmax will likely stay in the Trump camp, and that's about it for conservative TV. On the radio, opinion will be mixed, with Donald Trump maintaining a slight advantage, I believe. Now, a 2-year presidential campaign will be mind-numbing. It's just too much. Things are likely to get worse for the Biden administration, but Democrats have a year to figure out who's going to run in 24. It will not be Mr. Biden. As for us, we'll cover politics fairly as we always do. I hope you find that refreshing. Back after this. No question, there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
Cloudy and chilly this morning, but dry. Overnight lows will drop to about the upper 20s in the St. Louis area. We'll be in and out of the clouds again today with a spot flurry or two this afternoon ahead of a cold front. The high today, 42. The lows tonight in the low 20s, and the high tomorrow only to the freezing mark. We'll be in the upper 30s over the weekend, but the 50s next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
While we still sort out the 2022 midterm elections, we do know one thing at this point is that the U.S. House of Representatives is going to be the last line of defense against the Biden administration and the far leftists in Congress. I mean, obviously, we've got the U.S. Supreme Court and the originalists there, but when it comes to right now, it's the House that is going to be crucial to keeping the extremism on the left from affecting our lives anymore. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your morning. And in less than 1 hour, we're going to be joined by Congressman Mike Bost and get his perspective on what's in store for the now very slim majority of Republicans who were tasked with not just running their constitutional duties and not just the legislation, but also being that check and balance against both the Senate and the Biden administration. That conversation is going to happen at 6:35. Well, Donald Trump made his announcement. He is running for president, and we had a good chat with our good friend Susie Moore from RedState.com and got her reaction and her assessment of the Donald Trump that was on display this week for his presidential campaign kickoff.
Susie, I'm going to play a clip from Trump's speech. I grabbed one that I think kind of is a synopsis of the message he was trying to send. And I want to get your response, not just to this clip, but your overall impression of the announcement last night. Here's Donald Trump from his speech.
Our victory will be built upon big ideas, bold ambitions, and daring dreams for America's future. We need daring dreams. It is not enough merely to complain or oppose. We don't want to be critics. We don't want to be complainers. I never wanted to be a critic. I never respected critics. They tell people what's wrong, but they can't do it themselves. We will win because we will fight with every measure of our strength and with every ounce of our energy to lift up the working men and working women of America and to restore the fabric of this nation. The radical left Democrats have embraced an extreme ideology of government domination and control. Our approach is the opposite, one based on freedom, values, individual responsibility, and just plain common sense. It's common sense.
All right, Susie Moore, what's your take?
My take is kind of in line with what you guys have been saying. Obviously, this is a little bit more of a refined, restrained Trump. It's the Trump that we saw there was like an ad that he put out, I want to say it was like a year ago, and I'm not even remember the context, but I think I wrote it up for Red State at the time, where it was kind of the same tenor. It was about, all the accomplishments of his administration and where we were and why we're not there now and how we can all come together to make it better. And it's definitely the type of speech you'd like to see from somebody who wants to be a leader like that. It throws people off, I think, a little bit because just, a few days ago he was coming out with his sort of jabs at DeSantis and as you mentioned, the screed that he put out on Truth Social. So it kind of keeps you off kilter because it's like, which Trump are you going to get? I would say the overall take from the people at Red State and the people that have written it up so far was that this was a good tone of a speech. It sort of struck the right balance. And in fact, one of our writers, Bob Hogue, who is a Trump fan, was saying, it was almost a little bit of a sleepy speech.
Good morning, Susie. I was actually going to ask about the reaction to it. Are you seeing a wider shift towards favorability for Trump among perhaps his older critics?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think that people that are have been Trump critics all along, I don't see a whole big shift in that, either in our readership or just people, punditry, that sort of thing. What you do see that I didn't see even just a month or two ago is more people saying, yeah, Trump's great. I'll vote for him again if he ends up getting the nomination, but maybe we need to turn the page. That's been, to me, the biggest surprise because Red State's readership is pretty pro-Trump. And to see as many comments as I have over the past week or two that are open to the idea of moving on has been surprising to me. And I don't know if it's fatigue, as you all mentioned, if it's not liking, him turning his sights on DeSantis. I'm not sure exactly what's driving it, but there is much more of that. That said, I think pretty solidly it's safe to say that most people that are Red State readers, if Trump were to continue and be successful in the primary and gain the nomination, they would be all in on voting for him in general.
Morning, Susie. This is Ken. Being a big Trump fan, I've always appreciated his policies. I like his candor. I love the way he attacks when being attacked. At the same time, we've got 2 years here, and I'm open. I'm completely open for a DeSantis or someone else if Trump destroys. It's Trump's to lose. Let's put it that way. How do you feel about it, personally?
I think you're right. Oh, how do I say? Okay, well, that's
different.
I think you're right. It's 2 years. Think about it. This is November of 2022. November of 2020, Trump was still president. We were dealing with COVID. He had lost the election by this time 2 years ago, but that was just 2 years ago. So think of all the things that have happened in the intervening 24 months. There's so many things that could happen between now and the time that we're actually looking at the primaries. That's at least a year and a half away. We don't know yet who's going to decide, okay, I'm going to stand back because Trump's in it, and who's going to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and try and take him on. We just have to kind of wait and see how that unfolds. Personally, I was hoping that he would hang back and play kingmaker, and not because I don't love the things that he did accomplish as president, not because I don't disagree with his policies, not because of that, but because he is such a lightning rod. and people are so what's the word? It's like they're so instinctive and reactive to him as opposed to like intellectual in their response to him, that it creates this like unending drama. And you feel like it's like when you're on that roller coaster, you're waiting for you to get to the end of it. You just need to kind of take a breath. I don't like that feeling. And I mean, maybe people say, oh, well, that's, you're weak or whatever. I don't like feeling like that constant tension, that constant anxiety. And that's what we have when Trump's in the mix of things. I appreciate all he's done. I would have loved to have seen him sort of stand back and play kingmaker. But that's not what he's choosing to do. And maybe with him doing this, maybe he takes a lot of those slings and arrows up front and it does clear the field for other people. Or maybe he withstands them and he emerges even stronger. I don't know. I'm waiting to see. I am not making a snap judgment at this point. In 2016, I cannot deal with him, will not vote for him. I'm much more reflective, if you will, now.
We're visiting with Susie Moore from redstate.com. Just a minute or so left here, Susie. I think one of the interesting things is that pundits can try to predict what Donald Trump's going to do, and I think that's an exercise in futility. It is, and you're saying this right now, I think it's fascinating. It might be easier to try to watch how voters respond to him as opposed to what we think Donald Trump's going to do. I mean, predicting what Donald Trump's going to do is just, don't waste your breath, don't waste your time. But looking at how people react to him, whether it's in the Republican Party or in the conservative movement or otherwise, is a whole different approach to where we go from here to there and whether or not there are any other possible candidates getting in the race, because outside of Donald Trump, there are heavy hitters on the Republican bench.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think that we're going to have to, and we're going to have plenty of time to assess how the voting populace and how the conservative base are reacting to him. I thought it was very telling that Charlie Kirk, who's obviously a very pro-Trump pundit, was out, I think it was yesterday, on his social media saying, look, I'm getting all these messages from people who are a little concerned about some of his messaging and the way he's going off. How he was acknowledging that people were coming to him with concerns about the way Trump was approaching things. And that was before his speech last night. I suspect that for most people that either support Trump or at least are, Trump accepting, they were fine with the speech last night. It certainly didn't. The only people it triggered was the legacy media.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah. Well, he's going to trigger them anyway, no matter what.
Right. I mean, that was inevitable. But
Yeah.
Did you see the whole roll of headlines across? It was like, Trump who fomented insurrection.
Yeah.
Trump who refused to concede. It was like, oh, is that who it is? I didn't know who the guy was before you gave that description.
Even NPR went as far as that. I mean, their headline on Twitter was ridiculous. It was like, and fomented the
ridiculous.
overturn of the government. It's like, wow, really, NPR?
But they're going to, but
Right.
Susie, aren't they going to have that message the whole time now? That for the next 2 years, they're going to try and wear everybody down with those messages, and they're just not true.
They are. Of course they are, but it's like they're not even being coy with their framing anymore. It's like screaming, blaring, we hate him.
Yeah. And you should too. That TDS flare up. Somebody ought to invent an ointment, I guess, or maybe a vaccine.
There you go, a vaccine. Nobody will take it though, Gabe.
All right, Susie Moore, I'm sure multiple angles to this at redstate.com today and throughout the rest of the week. Really appreciate you being on, Susie.
Sure, guys. Have a great day.
The news roundup starts in just about 4 minutes. And don't forget, Congressman Mike Bost is going to be with us at 6:35 right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to join us for the Bluff City Outdoors radio show and podcast, where we talk fishing, hunting, camping, and everything else involving the great outdoors. Brought to you by Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, the Bluff City Outdoors Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. right here on News Talk STL.
The roller coaster. No matter your age, no matter the amusement park, it never ceases to bring the emotional goods, the anticipation, the excitement. And then, the fear and adrenaline rush that comes with the king of all rides. The same can be said when it comes to your retirement. Lots of questions and concerns that for some can feel like a roller coaster. Will you be able to continue to live as comfortably as you do now? Will you have complete financial independence? Will you run out of money? How about taxes, Social Security, or health care? Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group can answer these questions and more with their in-depth portfolio x-ray. Call 636-230-8824 or visit theallfinancialgroup.com. And let's save the fear and adrenaline rush for the amusement park.
Investment advisory services offered by All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor in Missouri. Insurance products are offered through its affiliate, All Insurance Group, LLC, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Columbo and Katie.
Their job at this incredibly upscale, fancy restaurant in London is to go around to the tables and hand feed grapes to the customers.
I don't even want to be disturbed by a waiter that's filling up my glass every 5 seconds or asking me how I'm doing every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine someone coming over to me and being like, "And a grape for you, my dear."
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Listen to this noise coming out of the White House.
Live and local.
We need to get the message to people who are not being helped by Democrats.
Ron DeSantis showed people the back of his hand.
This is Newstalk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL.
I can't stand the media sometimes. I'm not going to say which channel, but we've got a monitor in the studio here, and they were just showing some part of the United States where it's 70 degrees right now.
Show off.
Jerks. All right. Anyway, here's some of the things I've got on my radar that we will talk about today. Why would you do that? That just, screw you people.
I know.
Just say
it's 29 degrees here.
Yeah. And by Sunday, it's going to be 19 degrees here. All right.
Lovely. Hopefully the sun will be shining.
I hope so. All right. A few things that we've got on the news radar here today. It is official. The Republicans win back very narrow control of the U.S. House. We're still not sure exactly what the number is going to be, but we do know that we've got it confirmed 218 at least for the Republicans. That's enough for a majority. Schmumber. Yeah, really. So the question is, now what? Now what are you going to do with it? Man, so we're going to talk to Congressman Mike Bost at 6:35 to get his take on that. Also, a corrupt former St. Louis politician is upset. I shouldn't be laughing. This is a federal big deal. He's upset that he might have to pay back the money that was given to him in bribes.
Oh, how could they?
My God, I'm not making that up.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. And also, the U.S. Senate gives first-round approval for a bill protecting same-sex marriage and claiming to protect interracial marriage in federal law. Just a quick spoiler alert, nobody was threatening either one. So what's the problem with it? What's the big deal? There are actually some religious freedom concerns about that. We'll get into that just a little bit later. I'm Mike Ferguson. It's Ken Williams. We're over there, and it's 5:50 right now. All right, the Republican Party has officially, like I said, won control of the U.S. House of Representatives. So where do we go from here? Fox News' Jill Nato has the story. Of course, and I did not plug in the thing here. So
let me think here. Is it Friday yet? No, it's Thursday, Mike. Come on.
Oh.
Usually it's Friday. that when it happens.
I even got into the studio early. I can't believe I did that again.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Okay, so Jill Nato has the story here, I promise. Here she goes.
Democrats hold the majority in the Senate, and now the GOP is going to have the House, reaching the majority with 218 seats. Soon-to-be Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy told Fox his party's going to use the power of the purse as well as investigations to keep President Biden in check.
We are the only Republican entity that can stop this disastrous Biden agenda.
President Biden issued a statement congratulating McCarthy, and he did say last week,
I'm prepared to work with my Republican colleagues. The American people have made clear, I think, that they expect Republicans to be prepared to work with me as well.
The new Congress gets sworn in January 3rd. Jill Nato, Fox News.
All right, speaking of Kevin McCarthy, he was on with Hannity last night, and he says that they are making plans to make some changes when they take power in January. We'll see.
We've got to actually focus on what we did listening to the American public. You've got to make an economy that's strong. They're hurting because of inflation. We've got to cut back on this wasteful Washington spending. We've got to make ourselves energy independent.
Well, those are the right goals.
Yeah, but there needs to be some words about, is there anything about investigations at all?
Not in that clip, but yes.
They're okay, good. Because there are a lot of people out there that are saying, okay, great, we yes, we definitely want that. But you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah. You've got 435 people in the U.S. House of Representatives. That's a lot of ground that you can cover. About 200 and probably around 220 of them are going to be Republicans. Not all of them conservatives, but 220 of them or so are going to be Republicans on that. Congressman Mike Bost, who is one of the conservatives, going to be with us at 6:35. I think we need to say, okay, what's realistic? What can they do? You know, the U.S. Senate, the Democrats, we know are going to hold the line. They've got the White House behind them. They've got the majority behind them. So there's only so much the House can do. So let's talk about what they can do. I think I know what they will do, but let's see what they can do. So we'll get into that in just a little bit here. Speaking of the Senate Republicans vote to keep Mitch McConnell as the party leader. Multiple reports say it was a 37-10 vote. We know Josh Hawley voted no. I am 95% certain Eric Schmidt was also a no vote as well, but they don't publish the list of the yes and the no votes, but 37-10. McConnell defeated Florida Senator Rick Scott. So it's the status quo in the U.S. Senate for the GOP. How's that worked out for us recently?
Yeah. I don't have the quote in front of me, darn it. I wanted to get that. Mitch McConnell basically said, I have the votes.
Yep.
I'm going to be the next leader.
Or it was like, I've got the votes either now or later, but I'm going to be reelected.
But I will be.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, and actually I tweeted it, well, then why the hell are we voting? What if there's, if you've got it, why are we voting? Just like going onto a baseball field and saying, well, we won. I mean, I don't care whether it's now or later. We won. Well, then why play?
Well, like Sam Page once said, well, if the people were here, they would have voted with me, so I'm just declaring it a vote. Yeah. I mean, they did. They took the vote 37-10. I don't think they should have, because on the off chance that Herschel Walker wins in Georgia, he now was not given a say in who the Senate leader is. Now,
right.
Not going to make a difference at 37-10, and we don't know that Herschel Walker is going to win or lose in that race. But Georgia, cut out of that decision because of the runoff that's happening down there. Ben Sass from Nebraska had to go home to be with his wife, who had a medical emergency, so he wasn't there. But it looks like he's leaving the Senate anyway to take a job as the president of the University of Florida. I don't know how Ben Sass would have voted. He's pretty conservative. He's not a Trump conservative, but he's pretty conservative. So I don't know how he would have voted on that. But in the end, it wouldn't have made a difference. 37 votes is a lot of U.S. senators who are saying, yes, this is the same direction we want to keep going, the same direction that's got us where we are right now, which is in the minority when you should have won the majority. Way to go, guys and gals. Way to go. Oh, geez. All right, quick update regarding the plan to get Central Visual and Performing Arts High School and Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience students back in person, because remember, those two schools share a campus. Here's what's going on right now. The hope is that collegiate students are going to be back in person the week of the 28th. So right after Thanksgiving, that Monday after Thanksgiving, that's tentatively the plan for those students to go back in person. They and the visual and performing arts students have been online since the shooting, or since the week after the shooting. For Central VPA students, they are planning to have them back in person in January. So next semester, the Central Visual and Performing Arts side of the campus frankly sustained the most damage from the shooting. And so there's a lot of things to be repaired, windows to be replaced, repainting everywhere. Their goal is that when the students come back, that there is absolutely no visual evidence of the shooting, which is a good goal. That makes sense. I don't know why it would still take that long, but there were a lot of bullets that were fired, and so they're patching up a lot of stuff. And then what they want to do is for the students to come back and not see any reminder of that whatsoever.
And I completely appreciate that.
Yep. All right. Finally, boy, look at this. Blues are on a roll, dude. Oh, you got the T-shirt on.
Yeah.
He's got his Blues T-shirt. If you're watching on Rumble, you see he's got it kind of hidden there behind his jacket there.
Well, it's a little chilly in here.
There it is. It is. Yeah, it is. That is their fourth straight win. So the Blues are very streaky. 3 in a row wins, 8 in a row losses, now 4 in a row wins. And it wasn't just a win. They whooped Chicago 5-2. I mean, if you're going to kick somebody's butt, at least it's the Blackhawks, all right?
I think what they did is they lost 4 or 8 games in a row just to kind of push the idea that they're so bad. And then when they go into these towns, they're like, oh, we're going to kill them. And then
we did the rope-a-dope.
Exactly.
I don't know. It looked like they forgot how to hockey there for a little while.
I think so.
And
something.
Something has snapped in. So if they win their next game, they'll be back to 500. So right now you're looking at 7 wins, 8 losses. Very respectable start to the season, but man, was it scary there.
Oh.
I mean, after the first loss, you're like, hey, they won 3 in a row. All right, they were due. All right, let's go. Okay, 2 in a row. All right.
8 losses in a row.
Yeah.
Man, that makes you, as a fan, that kind of makes you, okay, I'm not even going to listen to them right now.
Okay, but 4 wins in a row, though.
4 in a row,
Yeah, that's where we want to be, and that's where they ought to be, given the team and given the talent that they have on the bench right there in the lines. All right, just ahead here. So the Republicans win back control of the U.S. House. Now what?
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron foul. It makes my clothes and home smell. And my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great-tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Kurtman, host of the Paul Kurtman Show on NewstalkSTL, but I'm also the president of PR Kurtman Investments. The market is down and inflation is up, so if you have questions about the investments in your portfolio, please let me help. Just send me an email by visiting freedomportfolios.com. There's no cost. The market might be uncertain, but that doesn't mean you should be too. Contact me today, Paul Kurtman, by visiting freedomportfolios.com.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Come January, Republicans will return to power in the House of Representatives. They have won at least 218 seats to flip control. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy said Americans are ready for a new direction and House Republicans are ready to deliver. President Biden congratulated McCarthy, saying he is ready to work with House Republicans to deliver results for working families. Meanwhile, current House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is expected to talk with colleagues today about her future political plans.
Well, Tuesday we found out what former President Trump intended to do. Today we find out what Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi plans to do in the future. A report from Axios claims President Biden and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer are both urging the California Democrat to seek her third term as House Minority Leader. Tasha Stevens reporting.
The United Nations has announced an extension of a 4-month-old deal with Russia to ensure the safe delivery of export of grain and other products from Ukraine through the Black Sea. However, that has not stopped Moscow from inflicting more damage on Ukrainians. At least 4 people killed today, more than a dozen others wounded in the latest barrage of Russian drone and missile strikes. Meanwhile, at a United Nations Security Council meeting, UN Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield said, whoever fired a deadly missile strike that fell in Poland, Russia's aggression is ultimately to blame.
This tragedy would never have happened but for Russia's needless invasion of Ukraine and its recent missile assaults against Ukraine's civilian infrastructure.
In new interviews, former Vice President Mike Pence declines to say whether he believes Donald Trump is fit to be president again. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know, if you feel like you're stuck with a healthcare plan that isn't affordable or you simply just don't like how it works, well, right now, during open enrollment is a perfect time to switch to Medi-Share. The typical family saves $500 a month when they join Medi-Share, and what's more, they like it. Medi-Share has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to the industry. That's double. And Medi-Share is the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. It's been around for 30 years. It's shared more than $4 billion in healthcare bills. And here's why now is the perfect time to make the switch. If you join Medi-Share Complete by January 1st, they will waive your new member fees and you'll save an additional 10% off your first year. That's right. No fee to join, 10% off every month for all of next year. But again, it's a limited time offer. So yeah, you're not stuck. You've got a great option. Call now, 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We're doing pretty well for the most part. 55 northbound is still pretty steady, headed into the construction zone in South St. Louis. However, they are working to clear a crash on Germania west of I-55. That one did have some injuries. We've picked up our overnight road work westbound on 270 at New Halls Ferry. That looks much better. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cloudy and chilly this morning, but dry. Overnight lows will drop to about the upper 20s in the St. Louis area. We'll be in and out of the clouds again today with a spot flurry or two this afternoon ahead of a cold front. The high today, 42. The lows tonight in the low 20s and the high tomorrow only to the freezing mark. We'll be in the upper 30s over the weekend, but the 50s next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by House Sold Easy. Looking to sell a house fast? Call David today at 314-293-3000. That's David with House Sold Easy at 314-293-3000.
All right, you're looking to buy a home, you're looking to sell a home, and I've mentioned this before, but you may be scared off from the cable pundits and all of the headlines in the economy. Don't be scared off. Still make the right decision for you. Homes are still being sold. Homes are still being purchased in St. Louis. You just need the right people on your side, and that's Rodney and Jen Wallner. Mike Ferguson here for the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. I'm going to give you this phone number a couple of times. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. 810 sold. Sometimes you've heard the term paralysis by analysis. In other words, that's a way of saying you're scared into doing nothing. And if you're scared into doing nothing, then you're not doing what needs to be done for you and your family. Don't fall into that trap. Don't fall into that fear mongering. Call Rodney and Jen. Just tell them what your goals are. They want to get to know you, your family, and what your goals are. There is a reason they sell up to 15 times more homes than the typical real estate agency in St. Louis. It's because they earn your trust, and you talk to them for a few minutes, and you're going to say to yourself, yep, Mike was right. Mike at News Talk STL was right. These are the type of people I want fighting for me when I am buying or selling a home. They're going to get you the best dollar for dollar value, and they're going to give you a very realistic look at what the market is bearing. But you want to sell a house? They've got pre-approved buyers. They guarantee you're going to get an offer. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD.
What happens next?
Candidacy for President of the United States.
Happens right here.
We just got crushed in this election.
We have got to stay focused on the 22 cycle.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! In case you hear the alarm. Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up!
Okay, we're going to get into this in more depth at 6:20. Gabe, you're going to love this one.
Okay.
One of the corrupt, now former St. Louis City politicians objecting. He's upset. He's upset that part of his sentence could be paying back the money that was given to him in bribes.
Wait, what?
I know, 6:20.
He's mad.
He should be able to keep that bribe money.
He big mad, man.
He already spent it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's why he's having trouble with it.
I've got the details of that, and we'll talk about it at 6:20, and it just gets dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber.
The audacity.
But it's more of audacity. It's more of the elitist mindset. It's like, how dare you?
It's so wild, man.
I was bribed this money fair and square.
That's right.
Oh, man. All right, 6:07. I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Gabe Pfeiffer over there and Ken Williams over there. Okay, it is official. The Republicans are going to be the majority party in the U.S. House. We knew that was going to happen. I would give it more of a golf clap.
That's kind of a That's that.
Yeah,
I used the smaller applause.
Yeah, I would just. Yeah, that's where I think it's going to be. So, minority leader, likely to be Speaker of the House, probably going to be Speaker of the House. Kevin McCarthy reacting to the Republicans getting that official word that they do have a majority come January. He was on with Hannity, and here's part of his take on Hannity's show last night.
On day one, in this House, we will repeal 87,000 new IRS agents.
No, you're not.
How
you don't think?
How would they do that?
They're not. They can't. I mean, I believe that they will probably pass a bill out of the House to do that, but it's going nowhere in the Senate.
Going to die in the Senate.
It's my understanding, though, that the 87,000 aren't being installed in 1 year. It's over the period of 10 years.
Yep.
So what about this? What if they wait until 24 and something, or
until they win a Senate majority as well?
Possibly. I'm just saying, get something in place now, but then wait until then to make
all decision. They can really do is deny funding for that.
Right.
That's all they can do.
Temporarily.
Yeah. In the next budget, the next fiscal year budget, all they can do is say, okay, the law is there. It's 87,000 over 8 or 9 years or something like that they're adding all of those. They can starve the funding so the IRS can't pay for the recruitment or the training or the salaries or anything like that. But that's all they can do. But, they can't repeal it.
Okay, but I mean that does help for now. I mean,
for the moment. Yeah.
One thing I like about this whole thing I don't care if they won by one. Nancy Pelosi's out of a job.
Yes, that's a big deal.
That's huge because we talk about her all the time, and I don't like her. So
yeah, she's
a horrible woman.
She'll be, I'm sure, the minority leader in the House, so she'll get to keep her nice big office. And I don't know. I mean, she's been reelected in California, so she'll be around for at least 2 more years. I mean, she's pretty old.
Quite.
So I don't know how much longer it's going to be worth it for her to stay in Congress. It's not like that seat is up for any worry for the Democrats. It's going to be always a left-wing seat. But she's fired out of the speaker's job, but she's still in Congress and she still has considerable influence in the House. So she's fired, but she just gets to sit on the sideline and kind of complain and be mad about stuff. And a lot of people are worried about that. They shouldn't be, but they are.
Yeah, well.
I mean, she's a spring chicken compared to Feinstein.
She's been having trouble lately, too.
Yeah, there was another report last night that reporters I couldn't even talk to her.
He was confused because he asked her a question. She answered him. Then he answered a variation of the question a few minutes later, and she said, "I don't even know what you're talking about."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was wild. That I read that whole exchange, which included one of her aides who was trying to help her
along.
Yeah,
no, ma'am, you did say that.
It's like, I guess that's it then.
Okay then.
Okay. What's happening right now?
I mean, at some point, if it's like, oh, geez, I need a more coherent conversation. Let's go talk to Fetterman. Things are,
or
not. Things are getting pretty bad out there.
Gosh.
But I mean, when you talk about the Republicans having the House, I mean, this is it. This, as far as the federal government goes, at least as far as legislative goes. I mean, you've got the Supreme Court, obviously, but when it comes to legislation right now, this is it. The House is it. The nation needs Republicans to act like conservatives and stay unified.
Yes.
How much hope do you think that's actually going to happen?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. We've got 2 years here for them to prove something. If they don't, 2024 is going to be a referendum.
Another one?
I think so. I think this next time it's going to be no. We have got to do something very serious right now.
I think we need to be cautious about hoping for a referendum in 2024 because 2022 was kind of a referendum, and a whole lot of people said, "Nope, we like the left-wing stuff."
Yeah, they failed to actually take that referendum.
I thought it was Stephen Moore who said we need to go farther. We need to feel the pain a little bit more before it.
Maybe.
Before they'll actually vote the way they need to.
Yeah, and I don't want to have to go through what we're going to have to go through, but we've been warning about, and Stephen's been warning about, and Rick Manning's been warning about, and Ted Cruz has been warning about, and Rand Paul and Burgess Owens, and all of these people have been warning about what's coming if we don't retard what's happening with the leftist policies, if we don't stop it. And it is going to be rough. It is going to be brutal. I mean, what was the highest gas price around here that we got?
You mean at its height?
Right, in this area here.
It was just under 5. It was like 4.
Yeah, I was going to say.
480.
I was remembering.
Mine was 493.
90, okay, I remember 480 something, but I remember that where the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is almost empty. We still don't have access to domestic oil the way that we should.
Diesel fuel,
natural gas.
That's spiking in particular, which is interesting.
Yeah. Wait till you get your bill in December and particularly January. Spire and all these companies have said they're going up. Guys, the prices are going up. They have been
28%.
warning us for months. Yeah, they have been warning us a lot that this is going up. So you've got that. I really do think at some point these supply chain issues are going to be exacerbated, particularly when it comes to food.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've gotten a warning on that over the baby food stuff. What happens if that gets into everyday staples? Now, I'm not trying to be apocalyptic here, but I'm trying to look ahead to what happens when we double down on policies that have already caused shortages in so many different areas.
And that's the feeling the pain thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Trump's acceptance or his nomination speech, he said, unfortunately, the reason why people voted the way they did this time around is because they haven't felt the pain yet.
Which is strange to me because, I mean...
People are feeling pain.
People are feeling
They're feeling pain, but I don't think they're feeling like...
Enough?
That's what other people have said.
Has our tolerance for economic pain gone up so much that he's like, well, I'll take this so long as I get my abortion rights or whatever?
Ideologically,
or,
yes.
Or I get my tax credits for solar panels. Is that I mean, it sounds weird to say, but that's kind of how the people voted, isn't it?
I think people voted to maintain the pain because there was something they were more scared of.
Yeah.
And that's really, what it came down to. Republicans didn't give a compelling reason.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess based on the polls and just kind of the general sentiment that seemed to be swelling, we just assumed that reality was providing that incentive. But I guess we didn't sell that you should keep your own money better.
Do we have to be more doom and gloom like the Democrats all the time?
No, we don't. But we learned that it should be obvious is not a good campaign slogan.
Yeah, there you go. It's not obvious. Well, yeah. Thank you, public education.
Yeah.
Honestly.
314-912-1019. How deeply corrupt do you have to be before you get upset that you might have to give back money that you took in bribes? This is fascinating to me. I'm going to try not to snicker and giggle through it, but it's funny, but it's not funny, but it just shows you how decrepit the corrupt mind absolutely is. And this is what happens when you're that deep into left-wing politics. I'll tell you what's happening is 6:21 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information
from the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just a couple of minor things for you this morning. First up, the ramp from Dunn Road west of Graham Road onto 270 westbound is shut down. We've got a tractor-trailer incident there. Big tow truck trying to get him out of the way. Route T at Route 00, we've got a crash with debris in the roadway. The intersection blocked. Otherwise, just normal volume so far this morning. This report sponsored by Walgreens, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Finding the right Medicare plan was no easy feat until I found Walgreens Find RX coverage. Compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, and find plans with low-cost copays. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Band Geeks. May 9th, the Family Arena, Progressive Pioneers. Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Band Geeks live. Research seat tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office at the Family Arena or through Ticketmaster. Don't miss Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Band Geeks.
All right, you feel good tonight?
They're back, cocked and loaded. The Family Arena presents 38 Special with special guests Molly Hatchet and Black Oak, Arkansas. Saturday, November 19th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.com. Presented by the Family Arena. Columbo and Katie.
When is the timeline of an announcement like that appropriately expected?
First off, if it was not Donald Trump, I would tell you that it would happen probably next spring, late winter, early spring. Donald Trump doesn't do things traditionally. No. I would argue, it would not surprise me that he would, if he were to announce, between the election and the end of the year.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
What if everything you thought and believed to be true about owning and buying your home turned out to be wrong?
Straightforward, objective advice on the right way to make the most out of every dollar you put into your home.
We're the only country that has one of those. Most other countries, considering like Canada, the UK, they don't have long-term fixed-rate mortgages like that. They're all variable-rate mortgages.
HomeWise with Michael Midget. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Now, the Onder Prescription with Dr. Bob Onder.
I'm Dr. Bob Onder. One of my biggest frustrations is watching timid Republicans cower whenever they fear the far left will criticize them or call them names. I saw this big time last year when a coalition of liberal Senate Republicans joined Democrats to defeat my bill to end COVID lockdowns and mandates. Giving in to the far left is not good policy, but is it good politics? Well, Tuesday, the biggest Republican winners nationwide were governors who pushed back the hardest against the woke left. Florida's Ron DeSantis took on the COVID tyrants, the teachers' unions, and the groomers who would indoctrinate our kids in race and gender ideology. He not only won Florida by 20 points, but he carried Miami-Dade in the Hispanic vote. And Governor Brian Kemp was the first to tell Fauci to take a hike and reopen Georgia. Remember, Republicans, do the right thing and the voters will reward you. I'm Dr. Bob, and that's my prescription.
Find more Dr. Bob Onder at bobondermo.com. Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Congressman Mike Bost going to be with us at 6:35. You know, he's going from being in the minority to the majority. What can they do? And I really want to know how he views the resolve of the Republican Party to absolutely stop, be called obstructionist, be called whatever by the media.
Take it.
And absolutely put a stop to the damage that's being done. I'm Mike Ferguson, 621. Like I said, that happens at 6:35. Gabe Pfeiffer's here. Ken Williams is here. I'm reading a couple of the stories. You remember John Collins Muhammad? Former alderman in St. Louis City. He was one of three, including board president Lewis Reed, who have now pled guilty to different corruption charges. Well, John Collins Muhammad's lawyer, on behalf of him this week, filed an objection to the federal government's apparent plan to say, as part of the sentencing deal, because that's what they're doing right now. He's already pled guilty. He's admitted that he did it. He took bribes for political favors and for allowing businesses to move through, different processes for permits and all that kind of stuff. So he was caught red-handed. He's already said that he's going to do it. While they're negotiating his sentence, his lawyer entered a motion objecting to a recommendation by the federal government, basically their first draft or second draft of the sentencing, that among the sentences that he pay back over $19,000 in bribes that he accepted from the informant.
But it was his money.
Yeah.
He already used that on the Mercedes. You can't you can't expect him to sell the Mercedes. I mean, come on.
Oh my goodness.
What about the video game?
It's so pretty.
He and his lawyer are calling the bribes because it was being done under the watchful eye of the federal government there. The informant bribed him, gave him the money, and so they are calling that, basically what they are calling that is a just cost of the investigation.
No.
Cost of the investigation.
No.
Yes, yeah.
What?
Yep.
So the government should just eat that.
Some of the investigators had to get a hotel room. So the government eats that cost. They had to order pizza so that they wouldn't starve. It's a cost. I mean, they had to bribe the bad guy. It's just a cost of the investigation.
The bribe to the guy they're investigating is a cost of the investigation.
What are those birds? The birds in Finding Nemo? Mine.
The seagulls.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh.
Here's the funny part is that according to some other precedents, the government is arguing that you really want to go there because in some cases courts have allowed you to be fined double what you took in fines.
Yeah, there we go.
And you're complaining about, no, I shouldn't have to give back the bribe money.
How do you get there? How do you get to the point where you just have so much audacity about all of your actions that you feel entitled to make those type of claims?
Right?
It's a narcissistic behavior that actually gets some of these people elected. I mean, true.
Well, I mean,
it's a trait.
Yeah, I suppose on some level, the type of people I'll say maybe jobs like politicians and government officials, it attracts narcissists. We'll say it
They're
that
not
way.
all
We won't
like
say
that.
everybody's a narcissist over there, but the job itself attracts narcissists.
But it is a fascinating question as to what goes through your brain. And I understand that the lawyer's got a job to do. The lawyer's job is to get you the best deal possible.
Sure.
But objecting to paying back bribery money seems to me to be one of the dumbest moves you could make. You could argue, no, he shouldn't do 5 years. He should only do 2 years. Okay, fair. But you're caught red-handed. They've documented it. You illegally took money for political favors. That's not your money. It is an ill-gotten gains. But at some point in the brain, they're like, no, I shouldn't have to pay that back. That's mine.
I can imagine the prosecuting attorney sitting there going, what?
Yeah.
well, hold on.
Now,
what did you say?
Now, wouldn't a request like this just tick off a judge? Like,
I would hope.
Wouldn't a judge just like, oh, for God's sakes, and then now you've kind of messed up your chances? Like, I would think that as a defense lawyer, is like, yes, I'm trying to get the best deal, but offering that, I mean, was kind of poison the well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Or if you're going to argue he shouldn't have to pay it back.
Mm-hmm.
Argue against, another part of their argument, which is, I think, dumb, but at least I think it's a more respectable argument, is they said restitution is to pay back victims.
Mm.
And the federal government isn't a victim. Well,
yes, they are, because it's not the federal government's money.
Right.
It's
all
our
of our
money.
money.
We are the victims. We are the victims.
That they chose to give him as part of the investigation, but it's not your money.
Right.
So at least you could argue that. Now I still think it'd be kicked, but you could argue that. But to say that, well, that's just the cost of investigation. You should eat that. By the way, that lobster was really good. Thank you very much.
That big screen TV that I have, I need that still.
That Broadway show, I mean, it's hard to get to. So it's already spent. It's already spent. That's really the what they're really saying there. It's like, well, it's already spent. It's going to be a problem. Now, okay. Oh, here's a separate question. If they said, well, how about the alternative is some sort of public service, part of probation kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like you have to go, I don't know, pick up trash on a highway or whatever. And
community service.
Community service.
Yeah.
And that would be the restitution as opposed to the monetary. Would that be an acceptable alternative? Like,
I would think for a court. Now this is a federal court,
right?
So I don't know that they're going to do that a whole lot. But I mean, if you can document that you are saving taxpayers money by you providing this free labor to do that X number of hours, okay, but then somebody's out of a job for those hours.
Yeah,
that and the fact that you're going to be doing $19,000 worth of community service at $10 an hour, $12 an hour.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a lot of hours.
They'll negotiate the price at $500 an hour.
Right.
No, that's 5 years.
Yeah,
it's 5 years of part-time work on the side of the highway.
But to me, the legal
the
legal maneuvering to me is not even the most interesting part. It is the idea that in your head, you could argue that you are entitled to keep the money that you got by committing federal crimes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I did a bad thing to acquire this. I should be able to keep it.
I want to sit
That's
down
weird.
and
It's weird.
Mine.
Yeah, I want to sit down with this guy and have lunch.
We do. Yeah,
and I want to talk to John Collins Muhammad now.
Is it kind of one of those? Is like the mind of a corrupt, instead of not mind of a killer, but mind of a corrupt politician kind of thing.
I was saying like I want to know what makes you tick, that makes you think that somehow you should be able to keep this.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who have that entitlement mindset that I have no desire to talk to. Remember, we played the audio from that preacher who was mad that they didn't buy him a Rolex and they weren't generous enough. I can't stand those people.
No, see, I couldn't sit down to a dinner with him because I would probably punch him in the face.
Yeah.
not even playing.
In this case right here, you're in the political class long enough that you get into the mindset that says that you're entitled to even illegal gains. Years ago, there was an article in Governing Magazine, which is a very, very niche magazine. Basically, you have to be in office to get it, get a free subscription. And I was elected to a low-level office, and so I got it.
All right, the Cool Kids magazine.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know about that.
I'm playing.
You can pay for a subscription. But there was an article years ago, and I think it's old enough now you can find it for free, called The Id of ego.
Yes.
And it was published in Governing Magazine, and it posed the question, do politics make people corrupt and narcissistic and egotistical and everything goes with it, or do politics attract people who are already in that mindset?
I'd say the latter.
Well, that's the interesting question is,
There's got to be a bit of the former,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, it does.
You know?
Yeah.
Does it just draw it out?
Yeah.
Like they say, people with money, it just shows your character.
And power.
Mine.
Yeah.
Mine.
All right, Congressman Mike Bost going to be with us at 6:35. It was kind of funny. We were supposed to do this interview at a different time, but the Democrats changed the calendar, and his office contacted me as a spokesperson. She said, "I'm so sorry, Mike. We got to change this." And I said, "Hey, don't tell the Democrats. I've already scheduled this and cut a promo. Don't change it again." She's like, "We'll let Pelosi know." There it is. Congressman Bost going to be with us at 6:35 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. News, analysis, opinion.
I am tonight announcing my candidacy.
He wants to say current, then he's got to shift attention from himself to the agenda.
101.9 and 94.1.
Some talking about DeSantis.
News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. According to federal court documents filed this week, former St. Louis Alderman John Collins Muhammad doesn't believe he should have to pay the government $19,500 for the money it used to catch him in a bribery scheme. Collins Muhammad's attorney called the bribe money an investigative cost. Sally Beauty Holdings, Inc. said it plans to accelerate efforts to optimize its store portfolio by closing 350 Sally Beauty supply locations by the end of the year, including 2 in the St. Louis region. The 2 area locations are on Lincoln Trail in Fairview Heights and Manchester Road in Des Peres. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers has filed a petition with the National Labor Relations Board to represent Apple workers. The organization has previously filed an unfair labor practice charge against Apple, claiming the company required St. Louis employees to attend a captive audience meeting and making threats of reprisal if the employees choose to organize with the IAM. And in sports, the Cardinals' Paul Goldschmidt was announced as the winner of the Heart and Hustle Award, which recognizes an active player who personifies the passion, spirit, values, and tradition of baseball. Goldschmidt had been nominated for the award 5 times before this season. And the Blues beat the Blackhawks 5-2 in Chicago last night. Next up, the Blues welcome the Capitals to Enterprise Center tonight. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We had a tractor trailer stuck and blocking the ramp to 270 westbound from Dunn Road west of Graham. It's the new ramp, and it looks like that's pretty tight for tractor trailers. He was wedged in there for a while. He's been cleared. They're working to reopen the ramp. That's the only real incident we've been working with so far this morning. Everything else is pretty normal. Bridge complex downtown looks good. 55 North is just picking up some volume, headed up towards Weber and Carondelet into the work zone. The support is sponsored by Wendy's $3 breakfast deal. Right now at Wendy's, enjoy the $3 breakfast deal. Choose between the bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant and get a small seasoned potatoes for just $3, because behind every great Wendy's deal is an even greater breakfast. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Right now at Wendy's, enjoy the $3 breakfast deal. Choose between the bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, and get a small seasoned potatoes for just $3. Because behind every great Wendy's deal is an even greater breakfast. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cloudy and chilly this morning, but dry. Overnight lows will drop to about the upper 20s in the St. Louis area. We'll be in and out of the clouds again today with a spot flurry or two this afternoon ahead of a cold front. The high today, 42. The lows tonight in the low 20s, and the high tomorrow only to the freezing mark. We'll be in the upper 30s over the weekend, but the 50s next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. I love to grill and definitely prefer using charcoal over gas. And ever since I met Jonathan Heslop and he introduced me to his product, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, I can't use anything else. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory and has been the nationally highest consumer-ranked charcoal for several years. So you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. Doesn't get any better than that. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com. Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Thursday, and at 3:40 we'll be talking with Dr. Randy Tobler, and at 4:25 we'll talk with Jim Carafano from the Heritage Foundation.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
16, I found my dream machine.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
We knew it was coming, but now it's official. The Republicans have enough seats in the U.S. House to have a majority. Kevin McCarthy is going to be the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
Now what? Now what? That's where we go from there. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here and Ken Williams here, joined now by Illinois Congressman Mike Boston. Congressman, first of all, appreciate you being on the show. Congratulations on your elections. First time we've talked since Election Day, so congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good win. Got a lot of work ahead of us, and you just mentioned that. The problem is that we are going to work, and we're going to send everything we can to the Senate. Unfortunately, we have not picked up the Senate. We haven't even tied the Senate yet. That's a problem. And then to try to convince those senators to move forward with the legislation that we send them. Now, on the other hand, what we can do, which is something that is vitally important, is we can actually, because remember, Congress has three missions, according to the Constitution. One is our budget, okay, and that's the constant argument when you deal with the Senate because you've got to pass it with them. But two is passing legislation. But three, which is vitally important for this time, is oversight. There are a lot of things that have happened over the last 2 years that the committees of jurisdiction will have the ability and have subpoena power. Excuse me. Will have subpoena power to bring people before to give some answers for several things. One of them is why and how and what's going on with many of our agencies and how they've been used for political leverage and or as political tools rather than the jobs that they have been created for. And then also you're going to see, I believe, Jim Jordan go into some very, very in-depth searching out of the Hunter Biden situation and what exactly was what is that tie with Russia? Now, as far as legislation is concerned, you will see us moving legislation to aggressively do certain things. One is we're going to try to move legislation, and we hope the Senate takes it up, that oversteps and takes away where the administration has stopped allowing the opportunity for us to become energy independent. everything from the Keystone Pipeline to the drilling permits that they drag their feet on. All of these things are things that we need to know. If you want to straighten out the economy, hey, bring down the price of fuel. And we can do that. And remember, 2 years ago, we were energy independent. So you'll see that happening. I believe that you will also see us aggressively going after trying to force the hand of the budget to go back into securing our border. And then another thing that we're going to, well, we've got to secure the border to stop the fentanyl flow and the dangers that exist out there. But there's a lot of things we're going to be able to at least push the legislation to the Senate. Unfortunately, we don't know what they're going to do with it.
Good morning, Mike. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So, understanding that your capabilities are limited, I think that's going to be key to level setting. The expectations.
Sure.
So what's realistic in terms of our expectations of what actually going to come out? I mean, we know legislation is going to flow. We know investigations are going to go. So what's realistic for the conclusion of those?
Okay. One is that when we do the investigation, and then let you know when you say the conclusion, if you're talking about investigations, we have subpoena power. However, I've also seen it in my acting role as the ranking member and now hopefully the chair of the VA committee. When we call people before our committee, they can plead the fifth just like they do any place else, and then you have to search out and do the investigatory. Do your due diligence in making sure that the true evidence comes out. Now, let me tell you something that won't happen. Under Kevin McCarthy's watch and under the Republicans, you will not see us do what Nancy Pelosi did during the January 6th hearings, which is not allow the Democrats to have members on the committee that they appoint. Because why? Because ever since the creation of our nation and the creation of the first Congress, anything that was investigatory, you have the minority party has the ability to put their members so they can cross-examine and work together in a bipartisan manner to find out information that we need to find out. What you won't see is us to do that like they did on January 6th so that the American people can see there truly is a true investigation being done. Now, as far as what is taken up after that, sometimes the frustration that you feel is we bring out certain evidence, and then the Department of Justice and those do not work off of our investigation because they have to do their own investigations. But then the question is, will they do the investigation? But I think it's our job is to shine light on certain things that are happening so that the American people can identify what's going on.
Good morning, Mike. This is Ken Williams. The big thing outside of inflation that people want to bring down is crime.
Yep.
What is the role of the House, and what can you do to help that situation bringing down crime?
There are pieces of legislation that we can put in place to make. The problem is, under the 10th Amendment, the individual states still have that power. So if you come from a state, as I do, where they have basically created law that will not allow the aggressive pursuit of a criminal, and also, cash bail, and all of these things. And if that state has removed it, there's not anything that the U.S. Congress can do. We can put tough laws on federal crimes that must be then enforced through our federal courts. But if you are in a state with the state courts, and it chooses, as I said, the Not Safe Act that the state of Illinois passed, and let me tell you that conversation, many of your listeners know, and if you don't, I have one son-in-law who is a county police officer and has been for many years. Wouldn't have his job, by the way. And then I have my son, who is a setting judge. Now, when you take the two of those and you get them together at the dinner table and you start talking about the SAFE Act or Unsafe Act that was passed in the state of Illinois, the frustration that the officer feels and the frustration that the judge feels because they can't do their job because of what the state legislature did. So, in answer to your question, there are many things on federal law we will be able to tighten down and make sure, we are a country of laws. And if you violate our laws, if it is no matter what it is, then due process must be done, and then punishment must be dealt. Not this ridiculous thinking that our police officers are the bad guys in this. And we've got to make sure that we support our local police officers as well as our federal police officers. That doesn't mean you want to allow a police officer to do a bad job, because remember, the most important thing that you know about our police officers, who dislikes a bad cop worse than anybody? A good cop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're visiting with Congressman Mike Bostock. Congressman, I've just got a minute or so left. Tell me about the resolve among the Republican caucus in the House right now. You're up against the Senate. You're up against the White House. There is only so much you're going to do. Every time that you stand together, you're going to be called obstructionist by everybody in the bubble there. So tell me about your sense of the resolve among the Republican Party, not just the conservatives, but the whole party.
Yeah. Let me tell you this. First off, when you're in the minority, you communicate. When you're in the majority, you must legislate to the best level you can. Remember, we have freshman and sophomore members, and now freshmen and sophomore members, and actually of the former Congress, and now the new members of this Congress, that have never experienced being in the majority and what we have to do. Knowing that fighting among yourselves is not a good thing. We have to stay united because we've got a very small majority. And to advance anything, we must stay united. And I believe in the Ronald Reagan rule that if a person is 80% with me, they're my friend. And you got to remember that's a representative form of government. Some of these people are elected from districts that may not be as conservative as mine. And believe me, mine proved out in this last election. It is a very, 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 very red district. That being said, we've got to find that area of common ground that we can stick together on to advance the ball. And that's what we're going to have to do, and that's the resolve we're going to have. And then we have to have a clear message to the Senate and to the President why it is that we just passed something to you that needs to now become law. And if you choose not to do it, you need to stand before the American people and answer why.
All right, Congressman Mike Bostock, Republican out of Illinois. Yes, there are still some Republicans in Illinois. Really appreciate you being on the program with the update, Congressman.
Thank you all for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, you easily find Mike Bostock. Just look him up, both his House seat website and his campaign one as well. All right, 314-912-1019. I forget what you guys mentioned, inflation. I think it was you, Ken, mentioned
crime and
inflation on that. 1 week from today, you're going to experience inflation. I mean, it's going to be tasty, but may not be quite as delectable of knowing how much it cost for that meal. We've got, I think, the final numbers on what that is. And then at 7:05, the U.S. Senate gives first-round approval to a federal law regarding regulation of marriage. What could go wrong with that? Give you the update still ahead here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Backing up already this morning, 270 westbound from about New Halls Ferry through the lane shift at Washington Elizabeth. 55 north is pretty typical. It's slow pockets, Carondelet up through Virginia. Just add a minute or two to your commute. 270 northbound, add a couple of minutes coming up through Tesson Ferry and 44. It's busy, but it's moving. This report sponsored by Walgreens, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Finding the right Medicare plan was no easy feat until I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, and find plans with low-cost copays. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Listen anytime.
It happens
anywhere. Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news
with the News Talk STL app.
Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go.
Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store
or at newstalkstl.com.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michael's Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Buckle up, Buttercup. What's new, fresh, and definitely shaking up the airwaves?
Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge presents the Definitely Holly Show.
Hi, this is Holly, a conservative millennial, and I am proud to be the newest member of the NewstalkSTL family. Every Saturday, we tackle controversial and hot topics and what's going on in our local community.
The Definitely Holly Show.
This Saturday evening at 5
on NewstalkSTL. Brought to you by Hiatus Tequila.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, Columbo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, including braces. Dr. Boscia uses the My Forever Smile Braces system, which straightens teeth many times in less than a year for half the price of traditional braces. Traditional braces or Invisalign can cost $6,000 or more, but Dr. Boscia only charges $29.98 for My Forever Smile, and incentives and insurance can lower the price even more, plus New Creation offers in-office financing. Learn more at newcreationdentalcare.com.
The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
Retire Nancy Pelosi.
They haven't won yet.
This is 1019 94.1.
How do you certify an election that is this botched?
News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Years ago, we had the same-sex marriage debate, and you would have thought that was over because the Supreme Court affirmed the rights of same-sex marriages in the country. And after the Dobbs decision, the left went on this rampage about all the things that Republicans and right-wing conservatives were going to take away because they took away abortion rights, which they didn't, by the way, just in case somebody's paying attention. And so 7:05, I'll tell you about the new marriage bill, which has gotten first-round approval in the U.S. Senate. There actually is, and I know that not everybody's going to like what I'm about to say, but there actually is a place for federal law when it comes to this because of the nature of reciprocity with everything from like marriage licenses and driver's licenses and all those sorts of things. So I'm not even saying the federal government has no business, but what's happening is a lot of Republicans, including Republican U.S. Senator Roy Blunt, who's on the way out, voted to advance this bill that the left is saying this is going to protect same-sex marriage rights and it's going to protect interracial marriage because they're trying to convince you that Republicans wanted to do away with, well, frankly, your marriage, Gabe.
Yeah.
Your marriage was never endangered, just so you know.
Neither was Clarence Thomas's.
No, Clarence Thomas's
They were
wasn't
going to come
either.
to your door and say, hey, guess what,
Yeah.
guys? Sorry.
You're not married anymore.
Nope.
My neighbors a few doors down, the gay couple, the guys down there, they're I don't know if they're married or not, but if they are, their marriage isn't threatened.
No.
By this from a legal standpoint. But what's the problem here is that the religious liberty aspect of it, there are so many holes in the law that puts faith-based institutions or any private institution at risk.
That's what I was worried about from the start.
Well, you should be.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why it's 7:05. It's 6:53 right now. That's Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. Gabe Pfeiffer, who came this close to having an illegal marriage, according to
oh my God,
according to the
so
Democrats.
close.
It was so close.
I mean, 1950 something when the
the
decision came down.
Loving
came down.
Yeah,
but
Loving decision, South
man,
Carolina.
It's like
so close,
so close.
I mean, my first marriage was interracial, and I wish somebody would have outlawed that, but not because the race thing. It was a bad idea for other reasons.
Yeah, that's a different story.
I'm just saying.
You just needed a bro to be like, bro, no.
Yeah, somebody's like, dude, what are you doing? She's trouble. Yeah, I should have listened. I'm like, all right.
You did have something good come of that, though.
I got a couple kids out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to take that.
Silver linings.
Take that as a win.
There you go. But yeah, you got one's like, what if I listened to people like, this is a bad idea? At some point, I was like, Dad, you were right. Anyway.
Well, and that's the thing. Listen, when it comes to government stuff, they need to listen to us, libertarian-minded, conservative-minded people, when we say, this is probably a bad idea. Yeah. Because here we are looking at a national divorce, honestly.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
My goodness.
All right. Well, 1 week from today is Thanksgiving. 1 week from today.
Okay.
Which means 1 week from today.
Man, that's so close.
I know. I am sleeping in 1 week from today. Do you guys do your big dinner at dinner time or at midday, like lunchtime?
All day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's like my brother, he takes over basically on Thanksgiving.
Our big deal meal is a kind of like in between lunch and dinner. Is it supper?
Yeah.
Is it supper? Is that what the
Lupper?
It's not brunch because that's earlier than right. So it's after. It's like 3 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah. See, what we do is we'll have a very late, pretty decent sized breakfast because like my brother and his wife are coming in, my mom's coming in, and we're hosting it here. And so everybody can sleep in, and then we'll have a late breakfast, and then
brunch, basically.
Yeah, and then basically 2 or 3 o'clock we'll have the big meal, and then we'll just kind of snack on leftovers that evening.
Yes,
but it's costing more. Now we know that, but I think we've got close to the final numbers here. So if you haven't already bought your food, we've already bought ours, but if you haven't already bought yours, get ready to shell out a lot more for your Thanksgiving meal next week.
Got to gird your loins on the way to the grocery store.
Yeah, Fox News' Ashley Strohmeyer took a look at the prices.
Families can expect to pay 20% more for their Thanksgiving meal this year than last, and it is nearly every single item on the menu that's going to cost you. So in 2020, the average cost to feed 10 people was $46.90. Then in 2021, it was $53.41, and this year it is $64.05. And according to the Farm Bureau, this is the most expensive meal in the 37 years they've seen since they started this holiday survey. A few factors that contribute to the spike this year are supply chain issues, inflation, and the avian flu.
The bird flu did wipe out a lot of turkeys in the Southwest.
She didn't mention Trump or Russia. That's weird.
No.
I thought that was part of the mix, right?
Yeah.
We've been told. We were told. That was the problem.
So we were told.
For whatever it's worth, cranberries are cheaper this year, so there's that.
Really?
What? Yeah, the price of cranberries is down 14%.
Well, because nobody wants them. No. I like them. Them.
So when you look at and the natural, like I said, the bird flu thing is actually a very real thing.
Yes.
But before that, you've got the inflationary aspect of this. So be thankful that you've got the big meal, but be a little grumpy that it's costing you what's costing because there's no reason for it. And that's assuming you can get the bird because there's a kind of a shortage going on. Now, that has more to do with the bird flu that wiped out all those, but that's one of the reasons it's up. All right, just ahead here, federal government, what should it be doing regarding marriage? I don't like what they're doing right now. Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert every Saturday morning at 9 right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling. the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
855-672-1566. 855-672-1566. That's 855-672-1566.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Votes are still being counted in a handful of congressional races, but last night Republicans secured at least 218 seats in the House to take back control from the Democrats. Meanwhile, in the Senate, Minority Leader Mitch McConnell fought back a challenge from GOP Senator Rick Scott of Florida. After the vote, McConnell said he's not bothered by a challenge to his leadership role.
I don't own this job. Anybody who wants to run for it can feel free to do so. And so I'm not in any way offended by having an opponent or having a few votes in opposition.
Later today, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi expected to discuss with Democrats her future plans. Overseas, Britain's new government is out with an emergency budget as it tries to tame double-digit inflation and rein in a growing deficit. The plan includes tax increases and spending cuts. North Korea has launched another short-range ballistic missile. At the State Department, a spokesman says the Communist North's missile development undermines peace and security in the region.
Our belief continues to be that we must limit the DPRK's ability to advance its unlawful ballistic missiles program and its weapons of mass destruction program. And our goal continues to be quite clearly the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
More than 24 police recruits in Los Angeles were injured during a training run when a vehicle slammed into them. Sheriff Alex Villanueva of Los Angeles County says the driver was tested for drunk driving. Results came back negative.
The driver was transported to a local hospital. They were negative on a field sobriety test and blew a 0.0.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know, if you feel like you're stuck with a healthcare plan that isn't affordable or you simply just don't like how it works, well, right now, during open enrollment is a perfect time to switch to MediShare. The typical family saves $500 a month when they join MediShare, and what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to the industry. That's double. And MediShare is the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. It's been around for 30 years. It's shared more than $4 billion in healthcare bills. And here's why now is the perfect time to make the switch. If you join MediShare Complete by January 1st, they will waive your new member fees and you'll save an additional 10% off your first year. That's right. No fee to join, 10% off every month for all of next year. But again, it's a limited time offer. So yeah, you're not stuck. You've got a great option. Call now, 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Extra heavy in North County already this morning from New Halls Ferry to New Florissant. They've already got the left lane closed for construction work. 270 north off the pace just a little bit. Tesson Ferry up to 44 and again approaching Manchester. Not enough to add more than a couple of minutes to your commute time. 61 southbound looks pretty slow again this morning. It may be due to some overnight road work. Route A down to 70. Poplar Street Bridge and everything downtown still steady this morning. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cloudy and chilly this morning, but dry. Overnight lows will drop to about the upper 20s in the St. Louis area. We'll be in and out of the clouds again today with a spot flurry or two this afternoon ahead of a cold front. The high today, 42. The lows tonight in the low 20s, and the high tomorrow only to the freezing mark. We'll be in the upper 30s over the weekend, but the 50s next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by The Dental Link. Call Dr. Alan Link today, 314-794-6464 to schedule your free consultation. Offices in Baldwin and Melville, 314-794-6464.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home one or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin Rob.
You know, we've talked a little bit over the past week or so since the elections that Democrats just are better at politics, ground level, street level, grassroots level politics than Republicans are usually. I've got an example of that from my street, from my block, that I'll tell you about around 7:20 or so. One of those things where I got home, saw something on my door, picked it up, and I'm like, that's why they win in this area, and we don't.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you about that. It's 7:07 right now.
Yeah,
that's
wait
Gabe
for it.
Pfeiffer. I want to be accurate. And Ken Williams here as well. Don't forget to check out our Twitter and our Getter and our YouTube, but particularly our Rumble. A lot of people like to watch us on Rumble, and I love it because we got the chat box and you can talk to us there. But that seems to be really where a lot of the News Talk STL family is kind of gathering, is at Rumble for all of our shows. We're on YouTube as well, but you just got to look up the individual shows for that. All right, the U.S. Senate gives a procedural first round approval to a federal law regarding marriage, particularly same-sex marriage and interracial marriage, and the legislation that is codifying same-sex marriage into federal law moves forward on that vote. Now, this is not the final approval, but it moves forward on that final vote and it hasn't been to the House yet. Fox News' Jared Halpern has more from Capitol Hill.
A dozen Republicans joined Democrats in the Senate to overcome a filibuster and advance the Respect for Marriage Act, codifying Supreme Court protections for same-sex and interracial marriages.
Think about those who you know and love who are in a same-sex marriage. Maybe it's your friends. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's someone on your staff.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer put a priority on the legislation after the summer ruling from the Supreme Court overturned abortion protections. Republican supporters say the measure does strike a balance to ensure religious institutions are free not to recognize or perform same-sex marriage ceremonies. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Okay, so that last part about the religious liberty is where the problem is, guys. Now, somebody may point out that the federal government really, we shouldn't be involving government in marriage at all.
Yes, please.
I agree with that, but that ship sailed a long, long time ago. And like so many other things, when did the government decide to get involved in marriage? Anybody want to look back in history, take a trip down memory lane for that one?
Well, I think it was the segregation era.
Yep.
The Democrats making rules about us blacks.
Yes.
Basically. What
happened is some of the look it up. It's like some of the first gun control laws and some of the first drug war laws, some of the first marriage laws in this country were there because white people and people who were black and people who were Asian, when you look up at New York and some of these different parts of the country, that they decided to start intermarrying. And there were some politicians that just weren't going to have it, because you look back, for instance, even mid-late 1800s, probably early 1900s. You went, you got married, the preacher married you, you wrote it in the family Bible, you were married, and that was that.
That was that.
We decided to get the government involved. Okay,
Sadly
here
so.
we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
But since the government is involved, there is a constitutional equal protection duty. Okay? So the reason that I say that now there is a place for federal law is because you do have the Commerce Equal Protection Law, Commerce Clause. And if there is a financial benefit for Rachel and I being married in Missouri, if we decide to move somewhere else, that automatically follows us because it's recognized in the state of Missouri. So the Supreme Court has in the past ruled that if a same-sex couple, gay couple, is married in Illinois or Iowa or wherever, they get the same protections if they move to a state that doesn't have that on there. Okay, I get it. I get it.
It's actually the same argument they're looking for concealed carry reciprocity.
Right.
So careful, conservatives, not to poo-poo this idea.
Exactly. And here's the thing: is the Democrats jumped on the Dobbs decision on abortion, and just to remind everybody who's not paying attention, the Supreme Court did not outlaw a single abortion in this country.
Nope.
Not
Right.
one.
Nope.
They said the states now make that decision. And the reaction from Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and media outlets is they tried to somehow tie interracial marriage. Well, if the federal government can take away abortion rights, then they could take away even your right to get married to somebody of a different race. No, they can't.
That's not how that works.
You guys are talking about the origin of all these things, and this is the reason primarily why the Democrat Party always tries. I mean, we could talk about this all day about how they try to change history.
Yeah, rewrite it. Yeah,
rewrite it. Yeah, so they can forget about it. It's a new Democrat Party now. We switched places. That's what they always say. No, it's been switched.
yeah. There was the switch.
The switch,
which is a big lie.
It's a big lie.
That's a whole other story.
The Washington Stand, Family Research Council, a lot of these very, very, very conservative organizations, they're still fighting the gay marriage thing, which I don't know if they realize they've lost it or not. But they did point out something interesting. You heard Jared Halpern report that it only passed because like 10 or 12 Republicans, including Roy Blunt, voted for it to get past the filibuster. And they said, well, we included religious protections, sort of. What they did was they basically carved out protections related to what they call the solemnization of marriage. So it's a Preacher Protection Act.
Okay.
Where a preacher can't be forced or a rabbi can't be forced to marry somebody in violation of their religious principles. Okay, that's a good start.
Thanks.
This has nothing to do with, for instance, the cake baker or the photographer who says, I don't believe in that. My religious freedom, my religious tenets dictate that I won't participate in that. No protections for that under this federal law. Now, if you are a religious institution, let's say a parochial school, let's say that you are a faith-based charity, let's say that you are a mission organization, you are a faith-based media outlet, it's at best unclear, but it appears to be that they will be subject to this federal law, meaning that they cannot discriminate based on somebody being in a same-sex marriage if you are a religious-based organization. So if you're a Christian school or you're a Catholic school or you're a Jewish school and you're an Orthodox, because there's a lot of liberal Jewish schools out there, a few liberal Christian schools too, and they have a very clear stated position on human sexuality that's based on your religious teachings. Under this law, they could still be slammed by the Department of Justice for upholding their religious freedom. So we've got a conflict of rights and freedoms now. And under the Biden administration and under the congressional Democrats, what they want to do is say, well, your religious freedom takes a back seat to LGBT rights. That's where we're at.
That's the problem. That's ultimately what we're looking at. We're staring down the barrel of that. And one of the things that I've been trepidatious of, even once Oberfeld kind of came through, I was like, okay, well here we go down the slope. And the slope has included the obviously some of the other sexual things that have been infiltrated schools, some of the indoctrination things, but also the attacks on religious liberty I knew were coming. It started with various states, organizations in certain places going after individuals like the cake baker. We always refer to there's a reason we always refer to baking a cake is because there's this one guy basically who's been targeted by organizations in his local area for repeated legal attacks against his business for simply standing up for his religious liberty. And that type of attack now is basically on the verge of becoming a federal level of law that can be applied to everybody in every state, and that's what I'm seeing in that law. And I don't think it's a far cry to say the portion that protects preachers could easily be repealed.
Oh, sure.
In a matter of a few years if this thing goes through.
But here's the thing: is that it could also mean, I remember that when I was on kind of an ad hoc committee at my children's Christian school years ago, we were looking for ways to raise more money. And this was during the Obama years. And this is when this law right here, this is when it was first being pushed, the early versions. And I said, well, we've got a nice gym. We've got a nice stage. Maybe we could, rent it out. And they checked with some attorneys and they went, nope, not under legislation that's being pushed that we're now seeing passed. They said, because if you rent it to anybody outside of the school, they believe that then the Obama administration, now obviously the Biden administration, their interpretation, the Department of Justice's interpretation is the minute you rent it out to anybody outside, you must rent it to everybody and you can't say no because you disagree with them.
Yeah, you become a public accommodation.
Right, which is crap.
Which is bullcrap, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm scared of this thing.
Interesting.
I'm scared of this thing.
It's, and 10 or 11 Republicans voted for this saying, they put in religious freedom protections, but not comprehensive ones.
We are always compromising.
Yeah.
We are always compromising. Stand your freaking ground, guys.
Yeah.
Grow a spine.
314-912-1019.
Or other things.
314-912-1019 just ahead here. Another example of Democrats being better at retail politics at the street level right here from the St. Louis area. It was on my door. I'll tell you about it just ahead on 1019 94.1 Newstalk STL.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Not bad this morning. The biggest delay we have is in North County, 270 westbound at New Florissant. Kind of a surprise. They already have the left lane closed for construction work. That's backed up through New Halls Ferry and about 4 to 5 minutes to your commute. 55 northbound, normal heavy traffic. Carondelet up through Gasconade. Add 4 minutes. 270 northbound coming up through Big Bend and Manchester. Just add a minute or so. 64 eastbound between Prospect and 364 is busy, but once you clear that, 64 east is fine. Bridges downtown still look great. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
The next Missouri Senator, Nick Schroer.
You know, it is good that Nancy Pelosi's not in America right now. It's less destruction that she can partake in. I can't get over her eyebrows. I mean, if you watch her eyebrows and watch inflation, it shows you the trends in inflation rising.
Huh?
And during Trump, her eyebrows were normal.
It's an economic indicator. Her eyebrows.
Really is. I don't know if it's the Botox or the vodka.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
News commentary.
Texas declares an invasion at the southern border. It's about dang time. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
This holiday season, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us with their annual Season of Hope. Between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve, the foundation will deliver mortgage-free homes to dozens and dozens of America's catastrophically injured veterans, fallen first responder families, and Gold Star families. Bring hope to heroes. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Tuesday, Texas Governor Abbott declared an invasion at the southern border, invoking invasion clauses in both the U.S. and Texas constitutions. Governor Abbott has vowed to fully authorize Texas to take unprecedented measures to defend our state against an invasion. So what does that mean? The Texas National Guard and Department of Public Safety will be deployed to both repel and arrest those who crossed or attempt to cross illegally. The declaration also includes construction of border wall, resources to border counties, a compact with other states to secure the border, and the designation of drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Those are all good and necessary steps. If President Biden and border czar Kamala refuse to defend our border, then governors are going to have to take the reins and do it themselves. According to CBP, for 2022 calendar year, agents have had nearly 2.1 million encounters at the U.S.-Mexico border. Let's get a grip on this because enough is enough. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Okay, the GOP in Washington sticks with what they know, and they choose to make no changes to leadership. We're going to talk about that at 7:35. It's 7:22 right now. Mike Ferguson with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. All right, real quick before I get to this. Yes, Democrats are better at local politics than Republicans are oftentimes. We'll get to that in just a minute. Just first, kind of checking in on the national scene. Not too far from Mar-a-Lago, there was a meeting of governors, Republican governors, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, obviously one of the key speakers. And there are a number of people who, as we know, are trying to trying to put him into the presidential picture, whether he wants to be there or not, or says anything about it or not. We've got this story from Fox News' Mark Meredith, who is in Orlando.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says with a Georgia Senate seat still up for grabs, it's too early to focus on the next presidential race. Even as speculation grows, he'll challenge former President Trump for the 2024 Republican nomination.
For me, it's like, okay, what more do we need to do to continue to make Florida lead the way? And we're going to be focusing on that.
While speaking at a party conference in Orlando, sources say DeSantis received a long standing ovation from his fellow Republican governors and did not mention Trump in his remarks.
Okay, so one thing I just want to point out is that there is no incumbent on the Republican nomination side, so nobody is challenging anybody else for the nomination. It is an open thing.
Yeah.
I hate it when media gets that stuff wrong.
Yeah, they kind of presuppose a lot of things, don't
It's a
they?
pet peeve of mine. You know, if Donald Trump were the president and somebody jumps in to run in the Republican primary, then they're challenging him
right
for because he's an incumbent. If a Democrat gets in and Joe Biden has not backed out, then they're challenging. If it's an open thing, there's nobody is challenging somebody else. There are just candidates.
Right.
I guess pet peeve, I know, but
I guess my pet peeve is how the media, they have an agenda. This is not. Oh, we just want to find out the truth. Okay, I told you the truth. I told you the truth 3 times, and you still keep asking the question. They want this thing to be a bruising fight between these two for the next 2 years. They want this, and they're trying to. And DeSantis is one of the people saying, "Look, guys, I'm working on Florida right now."
It's like, I got a job.
Well, even then, I heard not too long ago, was it yesterday? And they played the clip of DeSantis saying, well, this is, his quote basically about it not being a big deal or something. I can't remember exactly how he said it. But the way they cast it was directly at Trump, as opposed to we heard the whole quote. Mm-hmm. He was directing that at the media.
Right.
So it's like like you said, Ken, the narrative is they want the fight. Because the thing is, internal Republican fighting is beneficial to their preferred outcome.
And another scenario that I was reading about is Mike Pence getting into the picture. Mm-hmm. He's more of an establishment Republican, and if these two beat each other up, and then people get so tired of it, I guess, so worn out from it, then they look at Mike Pence and go, he doesn't look so bad now.
Are they trying to Romney us, basically?
Kind of.
Because if you remember, Romney got the nomination basically because he was so milquetoast, and we wanted something, regular.
Now, the difference is Mike Pence he is a conservative. You
yes,
can't take that away from him.
He is a solid conservative, however.
He's been very conservative his entire career.
Yes.
You can't, he's got a book out now, which is why you're seeing him everywhere.
He's just not a political brawler like I think the current time period seems to want.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he was, I forgot which show it was. It was like 4 million people watched his interview on TV last night.
Oh, yeah.
I did not expect that.
But that's the whole.
Who was he with? Oh, gosh, I can't remember. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's the whole point that I was making, though, is that he's not a brawler. And while he's not brawling and these other two are, then suddenly he steps up and says, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we could do worse than Mike Pence. I know there's a lot of MAGA country is angry at Mike Pence, and I think that's completely misplaced. But that's not what we're talking about now. But
now, I would love Mike Pence governing. I don't think he could win an election.
I don't think
that's the thing. Like I want to win. That's my problem. It's like we've got people who are throwing haymakers out here who probably can't win, and we got people who are just kind of sitting on their hands who probably can't win either. That's ultimately my problem with our current field.
Yeah. Although there's a lot of heavy hitters in there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, the book is out there. That's why you're seeing Mike Pence. He says he's they'll look at something next year. I don't see Mike Pence as a big threat to win that.
He's not going to make much of a splash.
No. But anyway, let me talk about the doing the politics locally. So I get home the other day, and I gave you guys a copy of this that I made. There's this piece of paper, if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube or whatever, rolled up and stuck in my front door. And it is from a couple of my neighbors. Do you guys remember Court Van Osteren? He ran against Ann Wagner 2 or 3 election cycles ago, pretty liberal Democrat. Well, Court and his boyfriend now live a few doors down from me, 2 or 3 doors down. So they're neighbors now. I've only run into them a couple of times. But there's this thing on all of our doors. They went door to door, and they hung it up and they said, hey, we've been redistricted. We have a new state representative district, and they're inviting all of us over to their house on Sunday, this coming Sunday, to meet with the new state representative. And they're just hosting, a little meet and greet with desserts and drinks and things like that. Now, I can tell you that this is a very left-wing state representative, which is normal for the Richmond Heights and Maplewood area. So she has no interest in hearing from me. I'm not going to go.
No.
But I looked at this and I was just really impressed. I'm like, this is why the left entrenches themselves into areas, because when either a blue area falls or a red area falls, it's more often than not the red areas that fall.
Right.
Or excuse me, it's not the blue areas.
The blue areas.
The red areas tend to fall.
They get purple and then they get blue.
Now, it's not always that way. I mean, in New York, because of Lee Zeldin's campaign, they flipped a few blue districts red.
And Miami, too.
Miami, yeah, which is interesting because they talk about Miami-Dade. People forget that's not just the city of Miami, that's the whole county.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. That's much bigger than just one city, although Miami is obviously a major city. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is so smart. I mean, so Court and David are opening up their home, and even though this representative, Sarah Unziger, just got elected, and it wasn't even a contest. I mean, it wasn't even close because it's a very blue district. They're still doing the retail hand-to-hand, handshake, face-to-face politics that absolutely solidify support in that area. That is smart politics.
Absolutely. This creates.
Go ahead.
I was going to say this creates political communities.
Yep.
Essentially. So and of course, considering the neighborhood, considering the the socioeconomic position of these people, this is a donor base.
Oh,
also.
yeah.
It's a major donor base.
Oh yeah.
So this is the type of stuff I wish I would see from Republicans, because being in somebody's house, standing around, glad handing the people who can write you the big checks is a big part of the politicking, right?
And each one of those people that are in that room are going to tell 10 other people.
Yep.
And they say politics starts local, and that's, I think, the most effective way to do it. And I think they subscribe to that. I tend to think that Republicans don't. They always try to get the mid to higher level things going first, and I think that's a lesson that they need to learn.
Oh yeah.
There are some conservative and Republican groups that get the campaigns right, and they will knock on thousands and thousands and thousands of doors, and that's good.
Yes,
keep doing that. But you do this type of thing in the off-year elections, and you don't wait till the election. You're creating seeds and you're creating foundations to make those efforts even that much more effective, and it's got the added benefit of you're connecting people to the local representatives that you got elected in the first place.
And I think to some degree they're creating loyalty, because when people realize that this is an off year, what are you doing here? I'm just here to double check. I want to make sure that everything's going right. That's weird. And I know that Vic has mentioned this before. When you go into the black areas, we need to go there. I mean, one of the most basic reasons why people don't vote Republican is because we just don't show up.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got to tip my cap to my neighbors, even though what they're doing is putting the wrong people in office. But this is smart. This is the way to do it.
Smart politics.
And so those of you who live in particularly purple areas, those of you who live in red areas, these are the types of things you should be thinking about doing. Opening up your home or your business or something so people can get to know the good people who are in office. 314-912-1019. Just ahead, Republicans look at the lessons they should be learning from the elections and say, we'll just kind of stay with what we got. So that's happening. We'll talk about that at 7:35.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewstalkSTL. This is what's happening.
Candidacy for President of the United States.
We still have a long way to go before 2024.
News, analysis, opinion.
Nancy Pelosi has been fired.
This is NewstalkSTL.
From the NewstalkSTL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The city of St. Louis sued two residents Tuesday, seeking to recoup more than $190,000 in workers' compensation it paid out after a 2017 crash injured a police officer. The suit seeks damages from both the alleged driver who ran a stoplight and the owner of the car. An entertainment center featuring an offshoot of Carl's Drive-In, an iconic Brentwood diner, and a go-kart track has won approval of the O'Fallon City Council. The council voted 9-1 on Monday night to approve plans for the complex, which also will include a 40-foot-high slide, a 50-foot-high sky tower ride, and a large swing carousel ride. Top of the Rock Golf Course at Big Cedar Lodge near Branson has been added to the video game PGA 2K23. The luxury-style golf course opened in 1996 as the first one in Missouri, designed by Jack Nicklaus. And in sports, the St. Louis Cardinals and Chicago Cubs will face off at London Stadium on June 24th and 25th, and tickets go on sale to the general public on December 6th at 4 a.m. Fans can register their information on MLB.com for exclusive early bird access on November 30th. And St. Louis's new Major League Soccer stadium called City Park had its first soccer match last night. During the sold-out international friendly, St. Louis City SC's developmental team, called City 2, fell to Bayer Leverkusen 3-0. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Doing just fine so far. If you're headed for the Poplar Street Bridge downtown, coming in westbound, 270 north is still pretty steady. It's busy, but it's moving. Doherty Ferry up through Manchester, 55 north, Germania up through Gasconade will be slowed down. Add about 3 minutes to your commute. Our biggest delay is 270 westbound. The left lane is already closed at New Florissant for work this morning. About 5 to 6 minute delay back to New Halls Ferry. This support sponsored by Blindster.com. I'm Jill Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cloudy and chilly this morning, but dry. Overnight lows will drop to about the upper 20s in the St. Louis area. We'll be in and out of the clouds again today with a spot flurry or two this afternoon ahead of a cold front. The high today, 42. The lows tonight in the low 20s, and the high tomorrow only to the freezing mark. We'll be in the upper 30s over the weekend, but the 50s next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
As a noun, hiatus is an interruption in time, a pause, or a break. As a tequila, hiatus is naturally clean yet complex, ideal for sipping neat, but it also shines in a cocktail. Some companies cut corners, but we prefer to take our time as our blue agave plants take up to 8 years to fully ripen. We got your taste at Hiatus Tequila. Go on a hiatus from the everyday. You deserve it.
Get 10% off your first order using coupon code HOLLY10 on shophiatustequila.com.
When's the last time you checked your 401k balance? Well, let me prepare you. It's not pretty. The 40-year record high inflation has cost many Americans almost 25% of their 401k savings, and with a volatile market hinting at a possible worse recession, I'm worried. Are you? Meanwhile, President Biden was recently questioned at an ice cream shop if he was worried about the economy.
Our economy is strong as hell. Inflation is worldwide. It's worse off everywhere else than it is in the United States.
So you have a choice to make. You can sit back and relax like the president and act like nothing is happening, or you can be proactive and call Steve Auld of the Auld Financial Group and stop losing your money. Call Steve today and ask for that Stop Losing the Money plan. 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com. Advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, the Auld Financial Group, and Retirement Wealth Advisors not affiliated. Insurance and annuities offered through the Auld Financial Group.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need change in our country right now.
Live and local.
They clubbed us over the head for 2 years.
Yep. You want corruption? This is how we get corruption.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
All right. The Senate leadership in Washington, D.C. is going to stay the same. I've got the update for you on that. So basically, they've learned nothing from the last elections. But if you're just joining us now, it's 7:38. We're talking about why, in many cases, Democrats are just better at retail politics on the street level, neighborhood level. And an example I pointed out was I get home the other day and there's this piece of paper rolled up and it's just a note from my neighbors, and they're having a local, kind of left-wing state representative who just got elected, just kind of open house. She's coming over to their place on Sunday from, for a couple hours, and they just invited all their neighbors in, and they're going to have desserts and they're going to have drinks, and you can just sit there and get to know the state representative, which is really, really smart politics. It's somebody I would never vote for, but really smart politics. She doesn't want to hear what I have to say, so I'm not going to bother. But those are the things we need to be doing more of. Hey, Steve, you're on News Talk STL. What's your take?
Hey, guys. First off, I want to say I attended the Phil Magnus event last night, and it was excellent.
Good.
Thank you for promoting that. There were, I don't know if it was the weather or what, but they had pre-printed name tags for people who had registered, and there were probably at least as many no-shows who didn't pick up tags as there were actual attenders. So anybody who registered and didn't go really missed out on a great event. So, but anyway, regarding this meet and greet that they're doing, your neighbor's doing for the candidate, that is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you completely, and I had some thoughts about that. Actually, I think I'm going to do that. I've got a new rep who is conservative, but to my knowledge, never campaigned in our area at all. I saw no evidence other than campaign signs, which people often go pick up themselves. But I think part of our issue as conservatives and liberals, and I know you've talked about it before, is that we have different personalities, really, than liberals. We have different instincts. We're more individualistic. We're less joiners. We're less collectivist than liberals who, want to band together for security. I just want to be left alone by the damn government. Now, it won't let me do that, so I have to fight back. But a lot of people, I think, don't do that. The left, and also it's a positive law versus negative law situation where the left wants things. They want to be given stuff. They want to destroy their opponents. Whereas, people on our side basically just want the government's hand out of our pocket and out of our lives. And I think also seems like there's a tendency and a feeling among, it's promulgated in churches and within families that, politics is a dirty, filthy business and don't get involved in it. So I think that's part of the reason you don't see some of that. But, yeah, I agree. The other side is definitely, in many regards, much better at politicking than we are.
Yeah, I would say that politics is a dirty, filthy business at times, and that's why we should have more good people involved.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should, yeah. And I also think, don't you guys feel that doing something like this, Mike, you said you wouldn't go to that event because they'd have nothing to say, but if you could grab somebody who's on the fence and bring them along and say, at least, because all the time, I hear people on the left, because I have a lot of family members who are there, they hear the word conservative and they think, oh, I would never, ever think of anything with that. But once they start talking to me, they go, that's not a conservative. Yes, that is a conservative value. Then they start to realize, oh, well, maybe I can listen a little bit more.
Hey, Steve, appreciate you being on the show, man.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, and when I say I'm not going to go, that's not boycotting or being mad or anything. It's just like I've looked up her website, I've looked up her social media. We have entirely different worldviews. All that I could do by going there would be disrupted by wanting to debate. And this is their debate. This is their thing. I'm not going to go into their house.
Well, you're not exactly a fence sitter that I'm talking about.
No, I'm not a fence sitter. But you look in, as Steve said, he said, there's a newly elected representative in his area. Is pretty conservative, but they didn't really campaign in that area. That's the perfect thing to do, is say, all right, if you've got the room in your house or your backyard or your gazebo or whatever, hey, come on over. I'm going to invite all of my neighbors, and we could probably get 10 or 15 people out, to stop by, and I'll provide the iced tea or the coffee or the beer or whatever, and some cookies or something like that. That's the kind of stuff that goes a long way, especially when you're doing it in between a campaign season.
Yeah, and Ken, I think you hit it pretty much right on the head, is that this is how you get the independents who aren't really normally paying attention engaged in this stuff. Because, one thing I noticed about this whole flyer, it mentions nothing about, specific left-wing agendas. It doesn't mention the party. It just says, this is our state rep. come meet them at my house and get food. This is how you get somebody who's normally disengaged from politics involved in politics.
Desserts and drinks. I will admit, I'm like,
right?
I don't want
cookies and beer, huh?
I don't want to stereotype, but Court and David, they might have some good treats.
I mean, it says, if nothing else, it will be a great opportunity to meet neighbors and grab a slice of pumpkin pie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's how you appeal to people who are just like, oh gosh, it's a political thing. It's like, actually, it's just a holiday party that's going to have your rep in the room.
And
I
can
get pie.
And I can get pie, yeah. And it is smart for Sarah Unziger to come do these types of things.
Absolutely.
You've got a supporter. Obviously, it's a fairly safe blue area, but you get to know people. Those are the things where, why'd you vote for them? Well, I met them. They're really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, and that goes both ways. Republicans should be doing this sort of thing as well. If third parties obviously don't really have a chance of winning, but those would be the smart things to do. Not make it a rally.
Right.
In this case right here, she's going to tell you what she's going to try to do in the next legislative session. She's a Democrat. She's not going to get any of it done, but she's going to be able to talk to people.
But like I had, that conversation with a person at the bar who is they're longtime, Union Democrats, but I hate Joe Biden. I hate what they're doing, what he's doing. I mean, those are the kind of people you can get them if you can get them in a room and focus on a couple of topics that they're interested in. You never know; that might sway a vote.
And the key to that whole thing is, so long as that the politician is make sure that their language is built for the independent, then you got them, right?
Yeah.
Because our ideas are the better ideas,
right?
The outcomes are obvious. All of these things it's really easy to sell this, so long as you're not buried in the jargon and the labels and all of those things.
Yeah.
You get in the room with a regular person, you talk about regular things. It's like, I would like to make sure that your kid is not indoctrinated in this, that your business is good to go, and we're not in your pocket all the time asking for money for things that should be taken care of right now. You say that stuff, the independent's on your side. It's like, oh yeah, I met him, he's a great guy. It's like, oh, he happens to be a Republican. Oh well,
whatever.
Click.
And the best way to communicate is to ask questions. So, what is on your mind? What is the most important thing to you? Then you can gear it toward that.
Candidates, are you listening?
Yeah, there's the added benefit of government actually hearing from people.
Yeah,
there's that whole. If you're into that sort of thing,
if you are,
but
Democratic Republic thing. I mean, whatever.
But again, don't create a rally.
Yeah.
This isn't anything like that. It's, hey, they're here.
Rallies have their place.
Sure.
But this is what we're not doing well.
Right.
Yep. All right, 314-912-1019. Just ahead, I have learned that we could have another budding possible national tragedy on our hands.
Oh, really?
We've got to put a stop to some of these things that we're doing in this country. I'll tell you what it is.
Oh, my gosh.
Right around 7:50, right here on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just a couple of minor crashes. The ramp from 6440 westbound to Boyle is partly blocked by an incident. 44 eastbound past Lewis. We had one that was in the right lane, but it's now just the right shoulder that's blocked. 270 eastbound getting one at the ramp to go southbound onto 170. Looks like it's off on the right side, though. 270 westbound, add 7 to 8 minutes to your commute time headed in from New Halls Ferry to New Florissant. Left lane already closed there. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Thursday at 9:41, we'll talk to conservative commentator Nina May. What does she think about FBI guys embedded into the whole January 6th thing?
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Band Geeks. May 9th, the Family Arena, Progressive Pioneers. Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Band Geeks live. Reserved seat tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office at the Family Arena or through Ticketmaster. Don't miss Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Band Geeks.
All right, you feel good tonight?
They're back, cocked and loaded.
The Family Arena presents 38 Special with special guests Bolly Hatchet and Black Oak, Arkansas. Saturday, November 19th, The Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.com. Presented by the Family Arena.
What if everything you thought and believed to be true about owning and buying your home turned out to be wrong?
Straightforward, objective advice on the right way to make the most out of every dollar you put into your home.
We're the only country that has one of those. Most other countries, considering like Canada, the UK, they don't have long-term fixed-rate mortgages like that. They're all variable-rate mortgages.
HomeWise with Michael Midget. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com. We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
Hey, Bill O'Reilly here, and you can hear my no-spin commentary right here at 6:45 this evening. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Remember that whole COVID pandemic amnesty debate that happened recently?
Mm-hmm.
Just 2-3 weeks ago, something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now that we're seeing reports of increased viral illnesses, otherwise I've seen it reported locally as the triple-demic.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
No way.
Triple mask, baby.
In other words, cold and flu season.
Yeah.
is what's happening right now. I want to bring up a conversation that I had just very, very recently. And I'll just tell you right now that at 8:05, it's a recorded conversation. But I talked to Tim Meads from the Daily Wire, one of their reporters out there, and he wrote basically a response to the call for pandemic amnesty or COVID amnesty. And I saw this, I forget which TV station it was in the area, was talking about triple-demic overwhelming local hospitals. Well, that's exactly how they started the last round of crap. Triple-demic.
Ugh.
And I thought, you know what? I think that conversation with Tim, because it focuses on individual freedom and liberty and the mistakes that were made, that is perfect for right now. So at 8:05, I've got that conversation for you, and you don't want to miss that one. I'm really curious as to what you think about that. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson, 7:51 right now. Got Gabe here, Ken here. Sometimes the first step is admitting you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm talking to my wife right now, and I'm talking to my mom right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm talking to, I don't remember whose wife it was in here. One of your guys' wife here as well. And they just can't get enough of terrible Christmas and other holidays.
Oh, yeah, the Hallmark style.
Oh, my wife.
Yeah, both,
okay, it was Caddy.
Both of our wives and my mom.
And Janet, yeah.
And Janet and Rachel. Okay.
And my mom.
And my mom, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing now. Here's how bad this has gotten. And it's the thing is that when you don't admit you've got a problem, the problem creeps and extends into other areas. QVC, the shopping channel. Has now announced they are releasing their own Christmas movie.
No.
I'm not kidding. You're going to think that this is a parody. It's not.
Oh, no.
So QVC has created a Hallmark Channel style Christmas movie called Holly and the Hot Chocolate.
Holly and the Hot Chocolate.
Here are some clips these are actual clips from an actual movie. I found the trailer for the whole movie. It's about 2 minutes long. It's too long to play on here.
Right.
And I mean, as bad as the Hallmark movies are, imagine having QVC saying maybe we could do almost as good as Hallmark Channel.
So love's lost, love's found, love's put on hold,
right,
and then found again,
yeah,
and then marriage, and
right,
shit. Okay.
and there's obviously a complication in the middle there. So here are clips from Holly and the Hot Chocolate. These are grown-ups, by the way.
Rudy, are you excited about the hot chocolate too?
Well, Rudy doesn't like hot chocolate.
I bet it's because he misses his wife Nora. You think that's it? I bet that's it.
There's somebody out there for you, and they're lost too.
I crashed my car in the woods. I could really use some help.
So Rudy tells me you are a food critic. Mm-hmm. You should do a review of the hot chocolate stand. It's magical.
What is it about this hot chocolate that makes it so special?
No cup is truly enjoyed unless it's served in the presence of love.
I'm just going to let that marinate for a second. Just let it.
Served in the presence of love.
Let it sink in.
So, you know what I got out of it?
gosh.
There's a guy serving hot chocolate to all these women, and he's fallen in love with all of them.
See, the thing is that that's not the plot, but that is not an unrealistic plot given these movies.
No. I mean,
it's an educated
he serves
guess.
with love to every,
He's the older, wise one.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a wise one who has to give the
Right.
advice, right? There's the old sage.
That's funny. My
There's the
wife
old
would
sage
always say
character.
it's like these are lily white northeastern areas, but you always have to have the wise old black man.
Yes, there's either a
Gray
wise old
beard.
black man or the sassy black friend who gives the advice. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. I noticed.
I picture in this movie that everybody who drinks the chocolate, they think it just tastes so good.
Yeah. Like there's just something about it. It's magical.
It's magical.
Also, it's a tiny town.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
There is a festival or a fair or
Yes. Yes.
a thing.
And
a festival.
And it's coming up.
The protagonist male is thinking about moving away.
Right.
The protagonist female has a boyfriend. That's the complication.
Right. He's a problem.
But she's not married.
And her car crashes. He's apparently stuck
Right.
in this little town for a little while while the one mechanic tries to find the part that she needs.
And what's the deal with all
He
this
drives-
hot chocolate stuff? This hot chocolate talk.
And he drives a tow truck.
Right. Yeah.
He's a rough and tumble dude, but
Yeah,
very
yeah.
sensitive.
Yeah,
He's
right.
very, very
now
sensitive.
her boyfriend he's very successful, very driven, but he's inattentive.
Yes.
Right.
I think that's true. actually.
Emotionally unavailable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And
But
that's
this guy,
him.
he's sensitive. He's got dreams.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he just needs a chance.
And he's-
Also very handsome.
He's a weightlifter, very handsome, but he's
a
very,
rugged,
very
good-looking
sensitive.
dude.
Rugged,
You know,
good-looking
and-
dude.
and
He wears
she's
a lot of flannel.
He does. That's true. How did you know?
Shaven, shadow.
Yeah, he's
beard.
got the little shadow.
She's very, very attractive
Yes.
in that, how is she single, girl next door kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean,
now,
yeah.
why don't they meet in this small town ever? Until then.
Well, no, she's passing through.
Oh, pass it. That's right.
Right. So she had her
Passing.
car crash
Okay.
and she has to
Oh,
stay
right,
there
yes,
now
right, okay.
because the part and he's the one mechanic. He's very busy. It's Christmas time and the
Sure.
part's way out there. They only have one road into town, so she's going to be there for like
It's
2
gonna be a
weeks.
blizzard.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks she's going to be there.
Okay.
So
and while she's there, she has to help with the fair.
So if you look up Holly and the Hot Chocolate trailer, you'll see a 2-minute trailer. I'm
I
not
just read
going
No,
the
to.
it's
whole
not
movie.
Holly is hot chocolate.
No.
That's a different movie.
Yeah.
You don't want that one.
No.
watch your
Yeah,
internet
really.
searches.
Watch out.
But if you look up Holly and the Hot Chocolate trailer, you can find that for yourself, but I'm not going to do that to you. Can I also point out, I'm a free markets guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
QVC, which sells blenders and stuff.
Yeah, and katanas
Right.
And
They're-
hot chocolate.
and hot chocolate.
And hot chocolate. I'm sure they have.
Hot chocolate makers.
Yeah.
They would not do this if they did not think there was a market for it.
But there is.
Oh,
But there is.
There's a massive market.
Hey,
for it.
go to my house.
That's why I'm saying the first step is admitting that you have a problem.
I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is Hollywood. They created this market. They did. Because their movies are so terrible.
You know what? You're right.
They're terrible. They're terrible in the content way.
Yeah.
This one is terrible in the execution way.
Oh my goodness, it's terrible. Okay. All right, just ahead here. Remember that whole COVID amnesty thing? Let's get the other side of that. And you're saying, well, why do that now? Because we're now starting to hear the reports trying to fearmonger again. So let's get out ahead of that. right around 8:04 on 101.9 and 94.1.
Open enrollment for anyone covered by Affordable Care Act is now open through January 15th.
So now is the time to act.
Hi, this is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. And regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively.
Call Mike Butts and his expert team at 314-544-5400
or visit mbhealth.com.
Budweiser's Guns N' Hoses returns to the Enterprise Center on Wednesday, November 23rd. This great St. Louis event is celebrating its 35th anniversary. Doors open at 4:30 p.m. General admission tickets are just $20. Guns N' Hoses features 12 professional boxing and MMA matches. All proceeds benefit Backstoppers. That's the Budweiser Guns N' Hoses, Wednesday, November 23rd at the Enterprise Center. For more information, visit stlgunsandhoses.com. That's stlgunsandhoses.com.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. More than a week after the midterms, Republicans have won a slim majority in the U.S. House.
Republicans have now secured the 218th seat needed to flip the U.S. House of Representatives. That returns the party to power in Washington and gives conservatives leverage to blunt President Joe Biden's agenda. It also is likely to spur a flurry of promised investigations. However, a threadbare majority will pose immediate challenges for GOP leaders. Republicans are now on track to cobble together what could be the party's narrowest majority of the 21st century, rivaling 2001, when Republicans had just a 9-seat majority. The full scope of the party's majority may not be clear for several more days or weeks, as votes in competitive races are still being counted. I am Lisa Dwyer.
More Russian military strikes have been reported across Ukraine today.
This is the second time in less than a week that Ukraine has come under widespread attack by Russia. The president's office says several missiles hit 2 infrastructure facilities in the central city of Dnipro. Here in the capital, the local military administration claims a number of missiles and 2 armed Shahed drones were shot down over Kyiv. The BBC has not been able to independently verify these reports. Ukraine's prime minister said the nationwide strikes were targeting energy infrastructure and weapons production plants.
That's the BBC's Catherine Burahenga. 2 more big retailers are out with their quarterly results, and they show a pullback from shoppers stung by inflation. Macy's reported declines in profits and sales. Third quarter sales at Kohl's fell nearly 7%. You might have trouble getting your morning coffee at Starbucks today. Depending on where you live, workers at more than 100 U.S. stores say they're going out on strike. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Factor pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country.
Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Off. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
A crash currently has the off-ramp closed from 6440 westbound to Boyle. You'll have to hop off at Kings Highway or another accident. Also on the ramp from 64 eastbound to Prospect. Watch out for a crash. 55 north, add about 5 minutes to your drive time running up through Carondelet and Gasconade. Add 9 to 10 minutes for 270 westbound New Halls Ferry to New Florissant through the construction zone. Add about 3 minutes, 64 west Hampton to Big Bend. 44 eastbound past Lewis, a fender bender on the shoulder slowing traffic a little bit. Likewise for 70 eastbound at 79, there's a little incident on the shoulder. This report sponsored by NetSpend All Access account. NetSpend All Access. Get the mobile banking account with perks that add up. Banking services provided by an account established by Pathward NA, member FDIC. Deposit account opening is subject to registration and ID verification. Terms and costs apply. I'm Joe Sonderman from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
Cloudy and chilly this morning, but dry. Overnight lows will drop to about the upper 20s in the St. Louis area. We'll be in and out of the clouds again today with a spot flurry or two this afternoon ahead of a cold front. The high today, 42. The lows tonight in the low 20s and the high tomorrow only to the freezing mark. We'll be in the upper 30s over the weekend, but the 50s next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
Over the past week, I think one of the, most spirited, if you will, debates that happened resulted from an editorial that was posted in The Atlantic. And a professor at Brown University, Emily Oster, says what should happen is everybody should just get along again, and we should let bygones be bygones and give everybody what she referred to as a pandemic amnesty. In other words, you don't like the fact that people were trying to lock down your church or close your kids' school or force mandates and all that sort of thing. Or if you're on the other side, that there were people who chose not to get a vaccine or didn't want to wear a mask or who pushed back against business closures, just forgive, forget, and move on because, hey, that was then and this is now. That was essentially what it was. Well, are you ready for that? Should we do that? I'm Mike Ferguson, joined now by Tim Meads, a writer with the Daily Wire, dailywire.com. And
I love your headline in your article here, Tim. It says, "Not a chance. Atlantic writer begs for pandemic amnesty, forgiveness for COVID tyranny." And there's a lot of people who are going to say, man, Tim, tyranny is an awful big word. I mean, we can't stay divided forever, can we?
Right. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for having me on. And yes, as you said, Emily Oster's piece, it really sparked up a lot of debate, and it brought back a lot of what happened between 2020 and 2021, and just how insane state and local governments, predominantly in Democratic-run cities, went during the pandemic. From having surfers out on the beaches, wide open beaches, arrested for breaking lockdown or not wearing the masks, to having little kids being kicked out of Applebee's in New York Cities for not being vaccinated. It really was a giant leap into insanity, and I would say tyranny, under the guise of, we're doing it because we think that it's for the best of humanity. We think it's for the best of society, and that these draconian lockdown measures that might kill small business, might stunt education growth, and might lead to depression and loneliness. Well, it's for the best and it's for the health. And so the experts in charge, which Oster in the piece says they were the problem with that Oster says is that it wasn't that these experts wanted to run society and wanted to tell you when you can go to church or when you can go for a walk with your own grandmother or anything like that. The problem was that they were just operating off of faulty data. And the thing is that she says we were uncertainty. And the thing is that the future is always uncertain. And the left just doesn't understand that there's always going to be unpredictable things that pop up. Human nature is creative, and creativity is by definition unpredictable because it's something unique. And so for somebody like Oster to say, let's have pandemic amnesty and let's forget all about this. Well, that's really not possible right now, because the worst offenders, Governor Gavin Newsom, Anthony Fauci in New York City, and so many more leftists across the board and bureaucrats, they haven't admitted that they've done anything wrong. They don't express remorse for what they've done because they thought they were doing it for the best interest of everybody. And they insist that, if we only had better data, we'll get it right next time. And we've heard that time and time again, that we'll get it right next time, and we just were trying to do it for the greater good, which in one way or another, that always ends in unmitigated disaster.
Tim, one of the things that I've seen in response to this, social media, talk radio, cable news, places like that, is disputing the assumption that Emily Oster had, in that, everybody meant well, and if they went too far, then they went too far because they were trying to protect people. Can we assume good intentions of the lockdown proponents and of the proponents of law enforcement, taping up parks and the surfing thing and all the craziness that we saw? Is it indisputable that they really had the best intentions in mind?
Right. Well, I think, for the government officials and those with power, I think you have to assume that they didn't have the best intentions in mind, and that they viewed it as an opportunity to have a massive power grab. Do I think that your next door neighbor who is trying to make sure that everybody stays healthy and who you've always got along with great? I think that, yes, you probably should, begin having conversations with that person, but they don't realize, their mistakes already, but point out just how wrong the so-called experts were. But then you look at folks like Biden right now. She currently serves in government at the Department of Justice. Her name's Kristen Clark, and she tweeted when there's an anti-Fauci presentation. I didn't mention this in the article, but she tweeted during an anti-Fauci presentation, I hope these protesters lose access to their hospitals and that they don't get treated for medical care. Blah, 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 simply because they stood up against an unelected bureaucrat. So you look at somebody like that and so many others, and you have to say, I don't think those kinds of folks really had the best intentions in mind and wanted what was best for society.
Tim Meads wrote the article, "Not a Chance. Atlantic writer begs for pandemic amnesty, forgiveness for COVID tyranny." And you can find that at dailywire.com. All right, a few minutes left here, Tim. Let me ask you this then. When we differentiate the neighbor next door who was just scared because of whatever, And then the government officials who ended up cracking down harder on people who tried to go to church anyway, or tried to go to the restaurant anyway, or the business owner wanted to have the gym open anyway. If we separate them out, if amnesty is not the answer, and just saying let bygones be bygones, if that's not the answer, what's the right answer to move forward and say, all right, there was real harm done here. We have to address it in order to get back to where people can kind of see eye to eye.
Sure. Well, if you're a conservative, the right answer is to one, push the truth, and that's the best thing about being a conservative, because most of the time, the truth is on our side, and when we realize it's not, we admit our mistakes. So just push, spread the truth to your neighbor on social media, to whomever, about what the facts were of this virus. What people like Governor Ron DeSantis or Brian Kemp, when they were opening up their states early on, looking at the same data as folks like Emily Oster. And they were saying, no, we've looked at the data, and the best thing to do is to open up and to have, if you have pre-medical conditions where you shouldn't, or, you're immune compromised in some way, then maybe you should, take more caution than others. So there were folks like that. So just keep on reminding that. But unfortunately for the left, I don't think that folks like Emily Oster or Governor Fauci or Gavin Newsom or Joe Biden or whomever it may be, I don't think they're ever going to admit that they were wrong about COVID. And I think that Fauci, you see him, he's saying, well, I never had real power. I wanted the schools to remain open, and they're just going back and they're rewriting history. And the reason why they can't admit that they were wrong about COVID, or that the experts were wrong, was because if they admit that the experts were wrong about COVID, and that the government, those in charge were wrong about the overall policy, well, then they admit that their entire political worldview is a failure, and that things like socialism, because really what happened during during the pandemic, Mike, it was socialism of a different form. It was sort of a collectivist thinking of, let's centrally plan how the pandemic response is going to be. Let's trust the experts. They know all that needs to be known about the virus, and we can't trust the common person with it. The only way that there will ever be a true reconciliation is if the government in charge, the people in charge in government, admit their mistakes. And I don't see that happening. However, on the personal level, I do think that you're seeing a lot of people who are switching with the midterm elections coming up, switching from voting blue, voting liberal, to voting conservative in response to the backlash against, their small businesses being killed, or not being able to attend their grandmother's funeral, or whatever craziness it was. And so I do think that there's hope for that, because I think just that the average person just does look at it and says this is insane, whereas leftists who vie for power, who want the government to have more power, they're never going to admit that they're wrong, and that's unfortunate.
All right, you can find the article at dailywire.com. Where do we find you? Social media, website, anything like that, Tim?
Oh, sure. Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks again for having me on. I enjoyed the conversation. You can follow me on Twitter at Tim Meads USA. And if you just go to dailywire.com, you'll see my articles there as well, and a lot of other great news, commentary, and analysis.
All right. Thanks again, Tim.
Sure. Thank you, Mike. Have a great one.
One of the things I think Tim is 100% right about is those on the hardcore left will never admit that they were wrong. Got some thoughts on this? 314-912-1019. Let's talk about it. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com.
Making cold my to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for?
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
from the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
The ramp from 64 westbound to Boyle is blocked due to a crash. Add 7 minutes to your commute 270 westbound approaching New Florissant due to the road work. 44 eastbound past Lewis, a little heavy traffic. That's a crash on the right-hand side there. One on the shoulder on 70 eastbound past 270. That's a little busy too. This report sponsored by Wendy's $3 breakfast deal. Right now at Wendy's, enjoy the $3 breakfast deal. Choose between the bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant and get a small seasoned potatoes for just $3 because behind every Wendy's deal is an even greater breakfast. Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Steph's Pizza, legendary St. Louis-style pizza and pasta. Just the name makes your mouth water. Also, for your next get-together, pick up a Steph's Party Platter. And if it's Monday, you get a large pizza for the price of a small. Steph's Pizza in St. Charles County and Chesterfield Valley. Steph's Pizza is always convenient for pickup or delivery. Check them out at stephspizza.com. Tonight's a good night for legendary Steph's Pizza.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent. We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
News commentary.
Texas declares an invasion at the southern border. It's about dang time. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
This holiday season, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us with their annual Season of Hope. Between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve, the foundation will deliver mortgage-free homes to dozens and dozens of America's catastrophically injured veterans, fallen first responder families, and Gold Star families. Bring hope to heroes. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Tuesday, Texas Governor Abbott declared an invasion at the southern border, invoking invasion clauses in both the U.S. and Texas constitutions. Governor Abbott has vowed to fully authorize Texas to take unprecedented measures to defend our state against an invasion. So what does that mean? The Texas National Guard and Department of Public Safety will be deployed to both repel and arrest those who crossed or attempt to cross illegally. The declaration also includes construction of border wall, resources to border counties, a compact with other states to secure the border, and the designation of drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Those are all good and necessary steps. If President Biden and border czar Kamala refuse to defend our border, then governors are going to have to take the reins and do it themselves. According to CBP, for 2022 calendar year, agents have had nearly 2.1 million encounters at the U.S.-Mexico border. Let's get a grip on this because enough is enough. I'm Tommy Lahren.
The news and talk.
More than 230,000 people were stopped along the Mexican border in October.
That matters to St. Louis.
Americans are desperate for deals as inflation soars.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right, 314-912-1019. Here are some of the things that are in the news right now, and we're also going to get your comments here as well. What has the Republican Party learned in Washington, D.C.? Maybe not a whole lot. Capitol Hill officially divided. Fox News' Jill Nato has that story after news about the House going to Republicans.
Democrats hold the majority in the Senate, and now the GOP is going to have the House, reaching the majority with 218 seats. Soon-to-be Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy told Fox his party's going to use the power of the purse as well as investigations to keep President Biden in check.
We are the only Republican entity that can stop this disastrous Biden agenda.
President Biden issued a statement congratulating McCarthy, and he did say last week,
I'm prepared to work with my Republican colleagues. The American people have made clear, I think, that they expect Republicans to be prepared to work with me as well.
The new Congress gets sworn in January 3rd. Jill Nato, Fox News.
It sounds to me like Joe Biden's willing to have them work with him.
Right. Right. Well, but after the way the elections have turned out, politically speaking, that's what I'd do. You held the Senate. You've got control of two of the three key lawmaking branches and law executing. He wasn't pushed back with a mandate by the people. He was. They had a mixture of affirmation, and the results in the House were much better for them than they thought they would be. Worse for us. Hey, Mike, you're on News Talk STL. What's your take?
You know what? I don't get your hopes up that much, or your listeners, just because they got control of the House and they can have hearings and they can bring people in with subpoenas. That don't mean squat because they don't control the DOJ. It would be like asking Kimmy Gardner in the city, we want you to prosecute this person because they've committed a crime, and she looks at you and says, no, I'm not going to do it. And that's what the DOJ is going to tell Congress. They can have all the hearings they want. And the other thing I wanted to say is I loved your little lead-in with Roddy Piper saying bubble. That is the best. But I'll give you another one that you might like too. It's in Hunt for Red October.
Oh yeah.
When the guy's in the submarine or he's talking to a CIA agent, and the guy tells him, "The Russians don't take a dump, son, without a plan." And none of these politicians, whether they're local, state, or federal, they don't do anything without a plan. Just remind everybody who goes out and votes. I know this is a great thing for all of us, but these people do not have our best interest in it, whether they're Republican or Democrat. I don't know what we can do about it, Mike, but we're at the bottom of the well, and these people don't give a crap about us.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Mike. I mean, and first of all, I appreciate you being on News Talk STL. We got a year and a half or 2 years of brainstorming to figure out how we are going to do something about it, and that goes for Republicans too, without a doubt.
Yeah, but we can still investigate. I know that, yeah, we don't have control of the DOJ, but we can do still. They need to be doing the investigations that they need to do, because I know for fact that there are a lot of Americans out there saying you need to investigate.
And we talked with Congressman Mike Bost a little bit earlier, and he was talking about the investigation aspect of it. That conversation is going to be posted on the News Talk STL podcast probably in the next 90 minutes or so. So if you haven't already subscribed to the News Talk STL podcast, go ahead and do that, and so you can get those and send it to your friends and check out those conversations. Speaking of the House, Minority Leader, soon-to-be Speaker Kevin McCarthy was on with Hannity last night, and he gave his what he says are his goals for the upcoming Congress.
We've got to actually focus on what we did listening to the American public. You've got to make an economy that's strong. They're hurting because of inflation. We've got to cut back on this wasteful Washington spending. We've got to make ourselves energy independent.
Okay, that's great.
That's
I don't know how you're going to do it.
Wasteful Washington spending is such an understatement. It's the understatement of the century.
Yeah.
I mean, this is out of control. Biden has spent, in his 2 years, he spent more than any president in history in their whole full term, whether it's 4 years or 8 years.
Let's even assume that the Republicans in this case hold their resolve and they're going to stand against all that wasteful spending and everything. All you can do is not write the funding into the budget, which the House can do. The Senate cannot do that. The House can do that. But that's about it. That and investigations is all they can do. So get ready to hear about obstructionist and do-nothing Republicans and everything. If I hear a Republican referred to as a do-nothing Republican, I'm going to give them a round of applause. Thank you.
And
stop doing stuff, Congress, please.
And I would contend that they need to stand firm and stick up for their conservative values and not be wishy-washy and buckle to the media, basically.
Yeah, that's what something happens in Washington, D.C. is that bubble. I referred to the bubble when we were talking with Congressman Bost. That is an incredibly influential and powerful place. I've had several members of Congress over the years tell me, they say, you get in there and I don't know what happens, but you think the entire world is watching that Washington, D.C. media. Then you go back home and realize, oh, no, only what we now call the swamp is watching it, and it just consumes people. Speaking of Congress, Senate Republicans kind of going to keep the same old. They vote to keep Mitch McConnell as the party leader. Multiple reports say it was 37-10. Yeah, McConnell defeated Florida Senator Rick Scott. So just status quo in the U.S. Senate for the Republican Party. How's that been working out for us?
I just think it's a big mistake. I think that we need a changing of the guard. And if it's not going to happen, of course, it's not going to happen this time around. It needs to happen next time.
Yeah,
it really does. I mean, there. You know, if anything, Mike, there are too many younger people there that are getting their industrial knowledge. You know, they're there. They've gained the veteranship of where they're at. They need to be able to contribute a little bit more. And I just think that he's done.
Well, he's got another 2 years.
He's not done.
He's not done yet. He
Right.
actually, between now and 2024, Mitch McConnell will become the longest serving party leader in U.S. Senate history.
Great.
Yeah. I was like,
what an honor.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
It's like saying, you know, you have an 89-year-old senator. Is a senator? Yes.
He's a senator, yeah.
No. I'm talking about Weinstein.
Oh,
or
no, not
Feinstein.
Feinstein, yes, senator, yeah.
89-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a badge of honor.
Okay, a couple quick updates here. Local news update regarding the plan to get Central Visual and Performing Arts high school students and Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience students, because remember, those two schools share a campus.
Yeah.
Here's the plan as of right now. Collegiate students are going to be back on campus right after Thanksgiving, so basically the 28th is what we're looking at. Central VPA students are going to be back for the next semester in January, and the reason that's taking so long, frankly, is the school shooting left far more damage on the Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. They're still trying to repair everything and repaint everything because the goal is to remove every bit of visual evidence of the shooting before those kids come back.
Yeah, it's a really good move, I think.
Yeah, it is. So we're looking at January. In the meantime, they're stuck in the online learning, and that's got all the damages and going to put them behind, but that's where we are right now.
And it's Feinstein.
Feinstein, yeah. Blues are on a roll. They won their fourth straight last night.
Whoa.
That's the good news. The good news is they won big, 5-2. The great news is they did it to Chicago.
Yeah.
Beating the Blackhawks. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I think they're trying to attack the American people.
Live and local.
Gabe, Mike, Ken, you guys are my morning cup of mental coffee. I love the show. Definitely a convert from the old one.
This is News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. According to federal court documents filed this week, former St. Louis Alderman John Collins Muhammad doesn't believe he should have to pay the government $19,500 for the money it used to catch him in a bribery scheme. Collins Muhammad's attorney called the bribe money an investigative cost. Sally Beauty Holdings, Inc. said it plans to accelerate efforts to optimize its store portfolio by closing 350 Sally Beauty supply locations by the end of the year, including 2 in the St. Louis region. The 2 area locations are on Lincoln Trail in Fairview Heights and Manchester Road in Des Peres. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers has filed a petition with the National Labor Relations Board to represent Apple workers. The organization has previously filed an unfair labor practice charge against Apple, claiming the company required St. Louis employees to attend a captive audience meeting and making threats of reprisal if the employees choose to organize with the IAM. And in sports, the Cardinals' Paul Goldschmidt was announced as the winner of the Heart and Hustle Award, which recognizes an active player who personifies the passion, spirit, values, and tradition of baseball. Goldschmidt had been nominated for the award 5 times before this season. And the Blues beat the Blackhawks 5-2 in Chicago last night. Next up, the Blues welcome the Capitals to Enterprise Center tonight. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Couple of issues. The biggest delay we have is 270 westbound. It's backed up New Halls Ferry to New Florissant due to the construction and an incident on the right side at Washington Elizabeth. Watch out for an accident on the exit ramp 170 northbound at the Forest Park Parkway. Then a stalled vehicle northbound 170 at Delmar in the right lane. We're okay headed for the Bridge Complex downtown. 55 northbound is thinning out. Construction zone speed limit in South St. Louis. This report sponsored by Blindster.com, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cloudy and chilly this morning, but dry. Overnight lows will drop to about the upper 20s in the St. Louis area. We'll be in and out of the clouds again today with a spot flurry or two this afternoon ahead of a cold front. The high today, 42. The lows tonight in the low 20s and the high tomorrow only to the freezing mark. We'll be in the upper 30s over the weekend, but the 50s next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
When is a financial help show not just a financial help show? When it's Pocket Watching with JT, the caller-driven financial talk show focused on helping you get your money right. Jason Thornton is a certified financial planner licensed in both tax and investments. You get JT's real reaction to all your money and business questions. Plus, you get JT's take on all the latest financial news. This is not just another financial show. Pocket Watching with JT now every Friday night at 8 p.m. on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Colombo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL.
Our responsibility.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To provide updated guidance.
At 101.9, 94.1, and NewstalkSTL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right, I got some pretty cool news. Just showed up in my inbox.
Yeah.
You know, Guns N' Hoses coming up.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that?
I do it. I support it every year.
Tomorrow on this very program, we're going to give away a pair of tickets to that.
All right.
I'm not going to tell you when. You just got to listen from 5:30 to 9. The whole time you block off your entire morning and listen to nothing but this.
And get ready because we'll do it again on Monday.
Yes. But you definitely want to be listening tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are going to give away a ticket to Guns N' Hoses, and actually we're going to be doing that on all of the shows here at some point. Matter of fact, Vic's going to give away a pair tomorrow, Monday as well.
Yeah.
So, Tony, yep, that's going to happen. Chris and Tim, starting today, we'll be giving away a pair of tickets.
So our promotions director is being very fair, doling them out across all the shows.
Right. But the coolest tickets are going to come from the morning show.
You think?
Saying. Yes.
They're all the same, but...
No. The coolest tickets are coming from the morning show. That's how that works. It is coming up on 8:38. Mike Ferguson here. Got Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams here. Can I just point out that sometimes what happens in people's brains is just fascinating to me. There are so many people that I look at them on TV, or I read their work, or I see them in public, and I go, I just want to go buy a cup of coffee, go to Caldi's or something, or wherever, and just sit down and just listen to them talk and ask them questions and try to figure out how their brain works, because it's fascinating. One of those people right now, moving up my list of people that I just want to try to figure out how their brain works, is former St. Louis City Alderman John Collins Muhammad. Remember him? One of the three corrupt ones who pled guilty to corruption charges in federal court. He was taking bribes in order to do, political and city hall stuff, and he was caught. And he's pled guilty. There's no question. He did it.
Right.
And so they're in the phase now where they're doing the legal maneuvering and trying to negotiate a sentence and all that kind of stuff. And this week, through his attorney, he objected to the notion and the proposal that he actually pay back the money he took in bribes.
How could they? Come on now. It's is it 9/10 the possession of the law or something?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess. I don't know.
And he's arguing because the bribery was from an informant, from a government informant, and they gave the informant the money. They're like, okay, we're pretty sure this guy's going to take a bribe, or he was soliciting bribes, or whatever it was that they were doing, and go ahead and bribe him. And he took $19,500 in bribes. And so as part of the, proposals and the negotiation for the sentencing, one of the things that was put on paper was, you got to pay back the money that you got through bribes.
You mean, wait a minute. No, I spent it already. And on my big screen TV, you mean I have to give that up?
Oh, my goodness. And they're objecting, saying, get this, arguing that this is, that's your problem. That was just a cost of the investigation. What? You might as well say, hey, I got the money through bribes fair and square. I shouldn't have to give that up. That's your problem if you gave me money to bribe me to do stuff. What's going through your head?
We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble right now. And one of the comments was, well, okay, let him keep the money and then make him have double the time.
Yeah.
Whatever that might be.
Yeah.
Okay, you can keep the money. All right, no big deal, but you're going to do more time then.
Yeah, I'll have to buy some cigarettes. I'll have to buy a lot of cigarettes in the canteen.
A lot of cigarettes,
to get by out there. That's why I saw this. I'm thinking, I want to sit down and just find out what makes this guy tick. What is it that gets into somebody's head that puts them in such an elitist mindset to say, no, I should not have to pay back the bribery money that I took. That's my ill-gotten, illegal gains, the money I received for abusing my public trust, because at some point people just say, no, I'm in this elite class. I don't actually have to suffer those consequences. I mean, whether or not he spends any time in jail, I don't know. I think at some point you do get to the place where, well, okay, you're going to be punished, but we're not going to make it too hard. I think that violating the public trust and this kind of public corruption should put you on the fast track to going actually into prison.
I totally agree, because you've lost the confidence of people by doing that, and it just strains the system even more. But I mean, it takes a special brand of narcissism to think that you're gonna you're required to, or you have the you should have what is it? You should have it. It's yours. I mean, you're sure
the entitlement.
Right.
Yeah.
The entitlement. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not used to that word. I don't like the word entitlement.
Now, the other argument that his lawyer's making, according to the multiple news reports, is it makes a little more sense, but it's still insulting. It says, no. Restitution is only supposed to go to victims. So I crash my car into your car, I have to make restitution and pay to fix your car. They're saying, no, this just came from government money for investigations. There's no victim. That's not restitution. It's taxpayer money.
Yeah, I would argue that we're the victim as taxpayers.
But the idea that, and I understand that the lawyer's job is to get your client the best deal. Okay,
Yeah.
I get that. For all my lawyer friends out there, I get it. I get it. But to argue that, no, you shouldn't have to pay that back because that's just your cost of doing the investigation. What are we supposed to do? Pay for every clerk who handles the prosecution? Are we going to pay for every hotel room that the G-men had while they were nailing your butt to the wall for public corruption? That's just a cost of doing business. But meanwhile, that's sitting in your pocket or your bank account or sitting on your TV stand in the form of a giant screen TV or in a plane ticket to Aruba or whatever you spend it on.
Well, when that was presented to the prosecuting attorney or the judge, I would love to have seen the look on their face.
Here's the thing is if you are caught red-handed, which is what John Collins Muhammad was, along with Lewis Reed, I mean, there was three of them, caught red-handed, taking bribes and abusing the public trust and abusing the position to which you were elected. The right answer is to beg for forgiveness, 100% humility and apology, and realize that anything that does not happen to you is a blessing.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't get 10 years in prison? That's a blessing. You don't get fined who knows how much money? That's a blessing. You don't end up with community service for the rest of your life? Okay, that's a blessing. But instead, there are people who still seem to have an entitlement mindset, such a corrupt mindset that says, don't they know who I am or who I was? I shouldn't have to be subject to those punishments.
Yeah, that $19,000 would go a long way for community service.
Yeah.
That's a lot of community service, I think.
Yeah, and to people in this kind of political class, $19,000 probably isn't a huge amount of money. But it doesn't matter. They also argue that the restitution and the fines should be based on their ability to repay, especially their ability to make a living after this. There's a lot of jobs he's never going to have now. Good.
Yeah.
He took $19,500. I mean, if you were to embezzle money from a bank or from a business or from a nonprofit or from a church, are you actually going to argue, no, that's not fair that I have to pay that back. That's just the cost of your investigation. No. Pay the money back, dude.
Yeah, let's not forget, they decided to do it.
Yeah.
From the jump.
Pay the money back, then go to jail.
Yeah.
That's how that works. So that maybe the next person in the Board of Aldermen who thinks, we're going to get this guy a permit to set up a business, but I can make a little cash off this. I got a kid's birthday present I got to buy. They'll think twice before abusing their position for that.
And even if I get busted, I could still keep the money.
Right. Yeah, because at one point it becomes, all right, so if I do 6 months, but I can make X amount of dollars, yeah, I'll take that trade-off.
Right.
Because that kind of stuff actually happens.
Yeah.
314-912-1019. But I'm telling you, John Collins Muhammad, before they throw your butt in the pokey, cup of coffee on me. I just want to know how the corrupt mind works, and I want to sit there and ask you about how your corruption works. I have a feeling he's not going to take me up on this. There's a chance he may not be a dedicated News Talk STL listener either. Corrupt liberals usually aren't. Anyway, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcasts, articles, and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
They're working to clear a minor crash 270 northbound past 44. It's not really causing a backup. It's just sort of sticking out in the left lane. Shouldn't be much longer. We've got one on the ramp from 170 northbound to the Forest Park Parkway. Just slow down and look for that. And 270 westbound at Washington Elizabeth. They moved one off into the construction zone. However, you're still pretty slow back to about West Florissant. That's due to the construction work in the left lane already this morning. This report sponsored by the NetSpend All Access account. NetSpend All Access account. Get the account account designed for your everyday mobile banking needs. Banking services provided by an account established by Pathward, NA, member FDIC. Deposit account opening is subject to registration and ID verification. Terms and costs apply. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Columbo and Katie.
Got another packed show for you on Thursday. Crane Durham will be with me, and we'll talk to Christian Daytalk at the White House at 2:20, and JT from Pocket Watching with JT at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
Tony Colombo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, and I really mean all your dental needs. Dr. Boscia focuses on utilizing the latest technology to pass along the benefits and huge number of services to his patients, which saves you time, money, and reduces discomfort in many cases. He also focuses on your convenience by offering early morning and evening appointments to limit disruption to you and your kid's schedule, and to being available for same-day and emergency treatment. A broken or infected tooth can shut down your entire life, and that's why Dr. Boscia can usually treat you the same day you call about an issue, right there in the office, without you having to be referred or make additional appointments with a specialist. In almost every case, Dr. Boscia is the only dental professional you need, and that's why Christine and I trust him with our family. Learn about all those great services and see if he's right for your family by visiting newcreationdentalcare.com. That's newcreationdentalcare.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Are you the type of person who loves their community and wants it to be the best it can be? Now it's easier than ever to do your part. Go to recyclemode.com to see just how easy it is to recycle the right way. Or if you already recycle and want to be as efficient as possible, recyclemode.com can tell you what should and should not be recycled in your area. Become part of the clean recycling movement today. It's the right thing to do. Sponsored by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at newstalkstl.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I just got an email from our friend Brian Stoll over at the Battlehawks, and season tickets for the Battlehawks go on sale now. Matter of fact, today. It looks like can. Yeah, I think you can buy them right now. So it's a 10-game season. So 5 home games, and it looks like you can get 5-game season ticket packages around $100.
No way.
Depending on where you are
Wow.
in the dome, obviously. So that's $20 a game, man. That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. That's
real
pretty
good.
good stuff. So if you want to check that out, just look up the Battlehawks or look up the XFL, and you can find that. So
And just so Brian knows and everybody knows, we're working on that audio for the cacao.
Oh,
still.
yeah.
We're refining it. It's almost done. So we're going to have to get that to him.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of the pricing that they're doing. So that's actually a really good deal. I mean, I suspect that's kind of at the top part of the lower bowl. But still, there really aren't any bad seats in the dome. I mean, really. Okay, so they've got different membership levels, gold and silver, and there are different perks with each one. Let's see here. So I just got this, so I'm reading it as we are reading this here. So so you want to get your tickets? Go do it. I guess you can do it now. Regular season ticket packages available at $100. In St. Louis, $125. So $125.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not a big deal there. So some cities around the country, it's $100 for a 5-game season ticket package. But in St. Louis, there's more demand because we have a better fan base.
That's right.
So it's just about $25 more there. And obviously, budget for your food and all that kind of stuff. I have a feeling
you have to get the shirt,
yes,
jersey or whatever.
I want my shirt.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, that's what I'm doing after. I got to record a couple interviews after the show here. I got to go see if my shirt's available because I wanted the long sleeve Battlehawks shirt, the blue one that just has the Battlehawks logo.
Yeah, nothing else.
I don't want. There was another one that had that, but it also had the word Battlehawks at the very bottom of it. And I thought the logo is so cool. I just want the logo.
Yeah.
And I really like long sleeve T-shirts. And so that one was sold out like that. So I couldn't get that. It wasn't available the other day. So I'm going to try that again so I can get that. I was about to buy a ticket to go see a Battlehawks game because I kind of took a wait and see approach the first time they were around in 2020.
Yeah.
I watched, I was watching them on, they broadcast on YouTube and after a couple games, I'm like, all right, this is good stuff. I'm definitely going to go to a game. And then they shut everything down.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to go. But I definitely want to go some games this year. I have a feeling that place is going to be noisy, and they're only going to sell the bottom half of the bowl to start with, I believe, in the Dome. But it's going to be loud in there. It's going to be fun.
Well, if you remember, they were getting ready to open up the second level, and then when COVID hit, it was like, oh, great, okay.
How many cities in the country had to expand their seating for the XFL? I know the answer to this question. You know how many?
How many?
One.
St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting my shirt. I'm a hat guy, so I'm probably going to get the logo on the hat.
That's a cool logo. It's a cool hat.
Yeah.
I think it's the best logo in the league.
Yeah.
Myself. I know I'm biased because I'm here, but it really is. Look at the others. Now the Vipers logo is pretty cool too.
Yeah, well, I like the logos of all of them, but I just think the energy here in St. Louis, when they were doing it here the first time, I was really surprised because I watched it online first, and I thought, okay, I'm getting tickets. And then, of course, at the same time, that's when that happened.
And here's what I hope people don't look at, because I think a lot of people looked at the Battlehawks as, see, we're going to show the NFL that we want a football team back. You've got a football team. They're called the Battlehawks.
Yeah. That's not the way to go into it.
Far as I'm concerned, you know what you do? Let's get this up to the point where let's fill the stinking dome, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we can do that too, Mike. I mean, I don't like the NFL.
I don't either.
For a number of reasons. I haven't watched I'll cheat and watch Patrick Mahomes with the KC team. Mm-hmm. But I don't know anything about the NFL at this point.
I was a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan for decades.
Yeah.
Decades. I couldn't tell you. I'm assuming Mike Tomlin is still coaching. I don't know. But I don't know who's on the team. I tuned out a long time ago. I'm like you. I don't want to worry about the NFL. I mean, you bring the NFL back here, I'm not going to be excited about it.
No.
I'm excited about the Battlehawks.
Yeah.
I really am. And I would love to see the XFL, and I would love to see the Battlehawks sit there and go, guys, we got to open up that top part of the dome. Because I'm sure that there are contracts available. I mean, contracts are a factor here. So they're renting the dome, but they're just renting that part of it. I would love to see them go, oof, we gotta renegotiate, take on the whole dome and spend the extra money because we're going to put thousands of people in it.
And you know what it would be, Mike? It would be fun.
Oh my goodness.
It would be so much fun just to watch the game as being a game.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I love college ball. I mean, I really I enjoy the fact I love college ball. I don't like what Mizzou's doing this year. But one of these days, Mizzou, my alma mater, they're going to do well in the SEC. I look for the day. That's my goal, is to see Mizzou do well in the SEC.
They had that big run right off the bat when they joined the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, right off the bat, beating Georgia, and it was fun because I was working in that market when Mizzou joined the SEC. I was actually at the event where they made the formal announcement.
Yeah.
And I was in the press corps and we were all asking questions, but man, everybody was stoked. It's hard to believe because when I was in Mizzou, and I think when you were at Mizzou, it was the Big 8.
Yes.
That seems like ancient history.
Yeah, the biggest thing they ever did when I was there, I think right before I got there, they went to the Liberty Bowl. And that they didn't do anything while I was there.
Yeah, they did okay. I mean, when I was there, the basketball team was ranked number 1.
Oh,
that was like the Doug Smith and Javon Crudup and Anthony Peeler, that era. Norm Stewart. Yeah,
Norm Stewart.
Yeah, Norm Stewart was the coach back then.
Yeah.
Randy Draper was the assistant coach. That was they were number one back at that time. So it was a blast, man. Going to Hearns Arena back then. That's long before Mizzou Arena was built.
But
That place was
Battlehawks.
noisy.
Battlehawks.
Battlehawks, absolutely. Get excited because it is the Battlehawks, and you can buy your tickets right now. All right, Vic Porcelli coming your way just about 6 minutes from right now on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Let's get you caught up on the news and the weather right now.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here for the best and brand new St. Louis sports bar experience in the entire St. Louis region, Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge, Missouri, located just 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois. 30 TVs, a huge game room, a great outdoor patio, the Sunset Patio, complete with the Sunset Stage and the train station bar, serving the famous Johnny Dow's chicken wings and the best barbecue in town. Open 6 days a week, serving lunch and dinner. Check it all out on the web, jhideout.com. Johnny's Hideout STL on Facebook. That's Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge.
As a noun, hiatus is an interruption in time, a pause, or a break. As a tequila, hiatus is naturally clean yet complex, ideal for sipping neat, but it also shines in a cocktail. Some companies cut corners, but we prefer to take our time as our blue agave plants take up to 8 years to fully ripen. We got your taste at Hiatus Tequila. Go on a hiatus from the everyday. You deserve it.
Get 10% off your first order using coupon code HOLLY10 on shophiatustequila.com.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even